So recently I was flying around my hardcore world working on a super secret project when I realized, oh, we hit day 5,000. That's pretty cool. So I figured I'd combine the last 2,000 days of projects from this world into a full movie just in time for you to enjoy over the holidays. This is the story of a depressed man suffering from insomnia who meets a strange soap salesman named Tyler Wait, oh no, that's Fight Club. Anyways, more videos coming soon, but for now, enjoy the video. Ancient legends say there's a man who has not seen sunlight in 26 years. Spoiler, it's me. Because my efforts to stay inside all day, every day have failed, and now I have to take a vitamin D supplement to avoid looking like a Twilight cast member, I'm instead going to build a dwarven kingdom in my Minecraft world just to appease my inner vampire. You see, despite the fact that I've survived 3,500 days in this world, I don't really have a good method of storing items. For instance, I keep all of my wood here. And here, and over here, a little bit over here, you get the point. But because I want this to be my end game Minecraft base, I think this is a great opportunity to finally do something about that. So when it comes to making this storage system, I have a couple of options. I could mine out the area, or I could blow it up. Ouch. Or I could just go ahead and build this. Now, Brock, what is this fancy machine you have behind you? This is a tunnel borer, and as the name says, it makes tunnels, which is perfect because I will need space to store hundreds of chests here eventually. Now, if I just do this and then remove it, everything should be ready to go. And according to my calculations, I just need to click the note block and yes, it works. It actually works. It worked for about 90 seconds. Hang on, it broke. Why did it break? Stupid gravel. I'm convinced that I have beginner's luck when it comes to redstone. This is what it feels like every time I make something complicated. It works perfect the first time, then immediately breaks for a really dumb reason, like I look at it funny, and then proceeds to taunt me for the next 2 hours while I try and fix it. Why doesn't it work, man? No. Oh, no, I hate my life. I'm done. I'm simply done. We're gonna do the entire thing from scratch. There's no way I can mess it up now. After 2 hours of headache, I finally had the machine up and running. So I spent the next while babysitting it while I slowly cleared this massive tunnel. As I spent the rest of that day chipping away, filling in the floor and clearing away the ceiling where the machine missed some spots, I began to have my doubts. It was really boring. Pun not intended. So yes, while I am still going to work on the storage system from time to time, it won't be a primary focus on this video. With all that out of the way, it was time to start building. The custom biome that I had built in the last episode opened up some pretty interesting ideas about the overall safety of this area. So right away, I'm thinking we have a little bit of the floor is lava going on here, meaning that I think this green river is definitely toxic. And I think it'd be really cool if we could connect this area up with like a series of bridges. Yeah, I think something like this looks pretty good. I think we'll put one here. We'll do one right here. Maybe like right here. Yeah. Definitely one here. Ooh, and for sure also definitely one on this area. Like there. Yeah, I like this. It turns out that simply using bridges wasn't really enough of an idea to spark much further creativity. So yeah, at this point, I still had no idea what the heck I was doing. So I began doing more research. I'm imagining a massive dwarven keep right here in the center of the storage system would look really cool. Firstly, we'll need a bunch of deep slate, and I have that pretty much covered thanks to the tunnel bore. That thing was awesome. I'm also gonna need insane amounts of spruce wood for this project. Hold up, wait, what am I even doing? To really build a proper dwarven kingdom, I realized it was in my best interest to limit my exposure to the sunlight, so I took this opportunity to move my tree farming setup down into the ground. We'll go through and outline a pillar right here, and then also one right here, followed by another archway on each side. Oh my god, you literally can't even see it right now, but just trust me, it'll look good. Ooh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? It's been a minute since we've had one of these, huh? I'm coming for you. Now at the top here, we'll go ahead and extend our pillars out and up a little bit further. Same thing over here. We'll connect them together. And then for at least a little bit of contrast through here, we'll go in with some glowstone, cover these up with spruce trapdoors, and then fill in the rest with spruce. Ooh, yeah, I like that. That looks nice. Now, before I get too carried away building, I'm realizing now that I'm a little bit short on space here, so we gotta clear out some room. Oh, that looks very weird right now. So we're about 1 hour into building this, and I think it's looking pretty good. The foundation is really starting to come together. Now the next thing to do is figure out a way to make this fit better into the terrain and make it seem like it's been here for a really long time. Getting the building to fit properly into the terrain was proving to be more difficult than I had anticipated. These dwarves do not have it easy, man, I'll tell you what. I have lots of newfound respect for their lifestyle. I mean, just the amount of sheer digging I was doing at this point was actually insane. At one point, I even gaslit myself into thinking the entire build needed to be pulled out by like 3 blocks, which, yeah, wasn't my brightest idea. 2 mildly infuriating hours later, and it looks like I did actually nothing. Despite all of that, there was still lots of work to do. Going through here with some deep slate walls. I think for the floor, we'll go ahead here and keep it very simple with the polished deep slate, followed by a series of more arches, which of course means more digging. This is my life now. I'm a dwarf in the mines. This is what the dwarfs do. I'm a dwarf. I don't really know what's gonna go in these rooms, if anything, so if you have any ideas, let me know. I have no idea what I just built, but it looks really cool, so I'm hereby calling these the Dwarven Symbols, I think. After 4 hours of building and going back through to add various doorways and windows for extra detail, the Dwarven Keep was finally complete. And right away, I was faced with a pretty big problem. But yeah, the deep slate doesn't really stick out from all of the deep slate in here. I know what you're thinking. What a profound thing to say, but it was true. If I wanted to build this kingdom with deep slate as a primary building block, I needed the walls to be a different block. Now, if you've been following this base for a while, you know that I plan to cover the entire inside of this with oak wood. Luckily, I've been planning for this very moment for over a year when I built this tree farm. Let's do some math. Given the diameter of this circle is roughly 50 blocks, we can calculate that you'll need about 157 blocks to get all the way around. Multiply that by the height of this place, which is 54 blocks. We determine that we will need 8,478 oak logs. Alternatively, that is 132 stacks or 5 shulker boxes worth. So the first logical step in fixing this problem requires us to actually fix the storage system at our tree farm. What's wrong with it, you ask? Well, nothing's wrong with it, but it only has 1 chest, so we need to add some more. There we go, 6 more chests should do. Now the next problem is a much bigger one. Yeah, this thing uses a lot of bone meal and we're doing okay, but not great. So for the first time in a year, I set off to the mob farm that we built way back at the beginning of this series. And to my surprise, there were stacks upon stacks of bones there, meaning that the bone meal wasn't going to be much of a problem after all. Look at my little character go when I craft these bones. He's just flinging his arms. He's working so hard. He's doing so good. 1 shulker box of bone blocks later. My wrist physically hurts right now. I never thought I would actually be saying that. That's kind of embarrassing. Despite this, I was finally ready for a long AFK session over at the tree farm. Well, I will see you on the other side. Well, today should be fun. Like, how do I even go about placing in all of these oak logs? I guess I just, like, start outlining? I really don't even know what the best way to do this is. It's kind of a weird problem to have, because if I just build like this and make things extremely uniform, the whole thing begins to look very flat and honestly unnatural. Maybe we can go through like this and kind of outline as we go at various heights? Okay, I can work with this.
So we're about 30 minutes in. And honestly, I think it's looking pretty good so far. Now I gotta figure out how to fill in these gaps. It's kind of hard because I can't just place the blocks like I normally would. I keep bumping my head. Yeah, not sure what to do about that. One hour in, and we have all of this done. Not bad. 2 hours in, and the motto is build now, think later. I'm also terribly out of wood. Hour number 3, and we are halfway done. I am honestly very surprised at how fast this whole process has been so far. We went from an entire wall of gray to an entire wall of brown. That is progress. By now, I was starting to lose my mind and definitely running out of interesting things to say. So yeah, I put on a podcast and spent the next 4 hours filling in the other half of the wall. Along the way, I experimented with the first environmental detail of this area by trying my hand at building a custom waterfall, which I think looks pretty dang cool. But we're finally at the place with this project where we can go ahead and start getting buildings and structures put into the area. I do need to figure out what they're gonna look like though, because I don't know what a dwarven house looks like.
Future Brock here. This is the part of the video where I very naively use AI technology to generate some concept art. And at the time, I didn't really realize the ramifications that this has on actual artists and just how kind of crappy AI tech is in general. So I made a really stupid take here and it kind of upset a lot of people, understandably so. I just want to say I've learned a lot since then, so that's all. Okay, back to the video. Anyways, with the concept art acquired and 1 hour of messing around in a creative world, I was able to get a pretty awesome mock-up built. So I have a design for the houses, and now I must figure out where to put said houses. It makes no sense. Somehow, I think it'll work though. We'll do a small house up here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe one like right here. Definitely one about right here. One up here, over here. We'll do like a little tall boy here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm realizing now that I'm gonna need to get some more colored wool out and start outlining other things beyond just the houses. With a plan in place, it was time to begin actually building. So I started things off building up the support beams. Even though technically this was one big house, think of it more like multiple small dungeons crammed together, kind of like my college dorm room. For instance, right here, just like imagine this as its own little house. I mean, after all, dwarves are just little guys. From there, I kept building, expanding the island to give myself a better base to build on and working my way up the build, starting with the roof trim. We'll do a building here, one on this side, and then a tall boy in the middle. At this point though, building the house was the least of my worries. Please work! Come on! I'm gonna have a conniption. I'm gonna connip. For the actual roofs themselves, I had the bright idea to cover them in moss, which not only looks organic to begin with, but allows me to go back through with bone meal and add a bunch of life to the area. Oh, come on. Tell me that does not look dwarven. You simply can't. That's a creeper. Okay, yep. I'm out. House number 2 is complete, or should I say houses number 2 is complete. It's very similar to this one, but it's also very different. I also am obsessed with these windows. They're so cute. Because the remaining houses were suspended into the air, I needed to change my process a little bit. Apparently, the dwarves who built these houses didn't know that most blocks will just float here in the Minecraft world. But either way, I spent the next while building a series of support beams on the sides of the cave, followed by the remaining houses. Before long, I developed a new strategy, whereby instead of building the entire house at once, I first went through building each of the support beams, followed by the house structure, the roof, and then so on. And there you go, the houses are pretty much done. That was way faster than how I was doing it before. Now we need a way to connect the houses. As you can see here, I've dug this tunnel and I think we're gonna have some roots going through. So firstly here, we'll go ahead and clear out some space so I can actually think. If I had $1 for every time I said that, I would be very rich. I figured now would be a good time to lean even heavier into the fantasy vibe, starting things off with a dark oak floor and filling in the walls with both red and brown mushrooms as well as their stems. Ooh,
Ooh, you know what? I kind of like that. That looks pretty good. I'll be honest, I don't know if I love it, but I'm at the point now where I'm just gonna kind of send it and hope that it looks good. There's one more tunnel dug out. There's a second tunnel dug, a third one, a fourth, and a fifth. Now I think with that, you should be able to walk between all of these upper houses just on the pathways themselves. At this point, I don't even care if the pathways are functional. Like this one, for example, is like way too steep to even actually walk up. As long as it looks like it's functional, that's all I care about. Collecting enough of the mushroom stem blocks was proving to be quite an annoyance at this point, because each mushroom only gives you like 7 stem blocks or something stupid. I am a dwarf, and this is my home. Now it was time to start asking the questions of what do dwarves actually do? Okay, so I think we can all agree that the main thing dwarves do is go mining, so let's build some mine shafts now, shall we? Okay, we'll start with some pillars, pretty standard. Maybe some slabs for the roof. Now the last thing to do is to make the inside actually look a little bit like a mine shaft. To begin, we'll just simply dig for a while. Oh, diamonds, nice. Now we'll go through and add these support pillars, dig out some of these tunnels as if they've been actually mined out a little bit. Carry along the ceiling just like this. Couple lanterns here and there. Finally, we'll go through here with some rails and curve them all the way around to here. And then lastly, I think it'd be very fitting if we put a chest minecart in here that goes back and forth, and yeah, suddenly the whole area feels totally alive. You know what? We'll even put the diamonds back that we found. Boom, boom. There we go. And just like that, we have our first proper mine shaft complete. What are you doing, dude? Get out of there. Mine shaft number 2 is complete. I spent the remaining hours of that day going through building up each of the remaining mine shafts before digging out their interiors. It's actually kind of crazy to think that just a few weeks ago I was artificially blowing up this entire hole with TNT dupers, and now I'm actually down here building the kingdom. It's pretty crazy. For some odd reason, I'm out here making a mine shaft full of deep slate copper. Not really sure why I'm using this stuff. It's actually very rare. These dwarves be flexing, man. And the last mine shaft is finally complete. I am getting in the way of the minecart, so I'm going to get down for now. After building a second nonsensical waterfall to piss off any civil engineers watching, I asked a pretty important question. What the heck do the dwarves even eat? I have no idea what a dwarf actually would eat. I think we should revisit the idea of using mushrooms. Hear me out, okay? Imagine like crop fields planted little rows of mushrooms down here. This was the perfect solution. Simple, on brand, and really easy for my lazy ass. Now it was time to tackle the giant pink elephant in the room, this upper section here. I'll be honest, I still had no idea what I was going to do up here, so I decided to trust my newly acquired dwarven instincts and just start digging. I guess in theory, if dwarves are doing all of this mining and collecting all of these resources and ores, they probably have a pretty good smelting setup. Before I could finish the furnace array, I first took a trip to the Nether to collect not 1, not 2, but 50 buckets of lava. This is a pretty unique design from my pal Radical Elder that actually uses lava buckets as a fuel source, which is cool because that is arguably the most dwarven sounding thing I have ever heard of. I'm not going to explain much more about the design beyond that, but if you're interested, go watch his video. It's great. So the farm is pretty much done in terms of its function. Now I need to just go ahead and figure out how the heck I'm going to decorate this thing. Oh yeah, dude, this looks super cool. The one downside of this farm is that it takes a really long time to be ready for use. So in the meantime, let's get working on what I want to build over here. Overall, this structure wasn't my favorite thing that I've built so far, but honestly, that's okay. I think it's important to remember that everything you build in Minecraft doesn't need to be better than your last or your favorite. I mean, that's just an unrealistic way of thinking. Mini motivational speech that nobody asked for aside, I now had a crazy idea for what to put in here. So yet again, I began digging. Oh my god, the beacon's here. It's off center by 1 block. You cannot make this up. Before long, I had an extremely long tunnel. And at the end of this really long tunnel, we will place in another portal. Let me explain. So basically, in the last episode, when I improved the creeper farm, I rendered my other old nether portal completely useless. And as a result, I don't really have a good way of getting to and from the nether right now. This will solve that. However, it does mean it has to be a very long ways away from everything in order to not interfere with the creeper farm. With some space finally cleared out, I began laying down the foundation with a mix of lime wool and lime concrete. I even took an opportunity here to make my first ever set of efficiency 5 shears. And boy oh boy does it feel nice. Oh my goodness. Hey, you guys are like twinning. Did you guys coordinate this? Did you plan it? All I'm gonna say is you were on that grind when you proceeded to record for the next 6 hours straight and not say a single word about what you were doing. I love how considerate the past me is towards the future me. Anyways, by now I had the floor covered in glass, these pillars along the walls, and even a massive bridge going through the center. But now is where I had some thinking to do. Now I've been pondering really hard what else to put in here, and I think I have an idea. Much like me ensuring that there's an even split of pizza rolls between my girlfriend and I get the idea that dwarves are very protective over their valuables. So I had the idea to turn that lower area into a vault of sorts. I spent the next couple of hours scraping together any pieces of ores I could find and collecting those, as well as taking a trip to the mesa to steal a bunch of gold, because that sounded a lot more fun than AFKing at my gold farm. Okay, there's the coal done on all these sides. Next up will be the copper, and yes, it's going to age, but I really don't care. Now for the iron, which I totally mined myself and did not grab from my iron farm. From there came the gold, lapis, redstone, and finally the elusive diamond blocks. And no, I'm not using netherite here because I respect myself and my time. Now I have an idea here for the ceiling that I think will look pretty good. You see, there's a reason I built this particular super smelter. Apart from being really fast, it also doubles as a lava farm, and I can use that lava to hopefully add some really cool decorations here to the ceiling. I'm thinking like some sort of lava pipe system. It feels very industrial, and I like that. So I think if I put this in here and then shut it, it should still flow out, and yes, there we go. That's a lava pipe, and I think that looks great. I'm still very obsessed with the idea of lava powering basically everything in this kingdom. It's just so on brand. In fact, I think most of what we built this episode was pretty thematic. I mean, yeah, we have houses, mine shafts, smelters, an entire vault. So yeah, it's safe to say I am never going outside again. This might be very dumb. I have the next 10 hours to complete every advancement in my Minecraft world. If I fail, well, I'm deleting the world. I haven't had much time to plan, considering I thought of this video about 1 hour ago, but I do know that we should start small. First thing, we need to kill some ghast. I think if we just kill 1 ghast, we should be okay with our looting 3 sword here. Oh, that's a lot of piglins. Oh my god, that's a lot of piglins. There we go, my friends. We have what we need. I got 4 ghast tears from that boy. Holy cow. I have to go fast. I can't mess around. Time is of the essence right now, folks. "12 minutes into this challenge, and we are doing our first advancement. We are respawning the Ender Dragon. So if all goes well, this should be a pretty straightforward... Oh, I already got it. Well, I mean, I guess I just thought that I had to kill the dragon for this one. As I'm sure you know, Minecraft advancements span across all 3 dimensions. However, upon looking, I only had 2 advancements to complete in the end. Oh yeah, I should probably mention at this point that I'm going to be getting all of the remaining advancements. I'm not going to be like resetting stats or anything. That just doesn't make sense and would be kind of weird. That's 1 advancement officially done, 18 minutes into the challenge. I have no idea if that's good or if that's bad, but we're just going to keep on moving. Advancement number 2 required a trip out to an end city to have a shulker levitate me 50 blocks into the air. And admittedly, I haven't been to one of these things in nearly a full year. This one you usually kind of get by accident, just sort of playing the game. We have 1 guy right here. I think our best bet's gonna be to go down here like below them. Let this guy hit us. And we have to actually just keep getting hit. The first couple of attempts were a little shaky, but once I realized I could sort of just like aim myself into the shulker bullets to keep getting hit, it honestly wasn't too hard. 3, 4, 6, come on, 10, 11. Oh my God, it's gonna be so close. I don't think we're gonna get it. We're not gonna, we got it, yes, we got it. Oh my God, we got it just in time. Are we done in the end already? If I was better at planning, I should have technically been done with advancements in the end now. But don't worry, more on that mess up later. For now, I was just ready to head home and start working on the next set of advancements in the Nether. So far, I was making pretty good pace, averaging 11 minutes per advancement, when technically I have 18 minutes to complete each of them. In case this video goes horribly wrong and I fail miserably, I at least wanted to get that out there. After having a heck of a time trying to make a warped fungus on a stick, you need to have a regular fishing rod? What do you mean? An enchanted one won't work? I set off to find a strider. The very first time I have crafted a fungus on a stick, we are on day 3,657, and I have crafted this for the first time. I don't know if I should be proud of that or like embarrassed of that. Ooh, this could be good. This could be good. Okay, there's that. There's this. Oh my God, this is kind of cool. For the life of me though, I couldn't figure out how to actually get the advancement. Ride a strider with a warped fungus on a stick. That's what I'm doing. Hello? Why aren't you working? I don't understand. I'm doing what it tells me to do. Oh, I have to like click it. That's it. Believe it or not, in the 3,600 days that I have spent in this world, I have never once looted a bastion. And it is precisely because of that fact that I have survived as long as I have. So naturally, I was a little hesitant for our next advancement. I don't want to do it. I really don't. Oh. Yeah, not as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Speaking of easy advancements, not 7 minutes later, I had charged up a respawn anchor, which is arguably the most useless block in all of hardcore Minecraft, as well as applied a compass to a lodestone. Easy. Now, however, we're at the part where it's gonna be a little bit difficult. I have no idea how long this needs to be. Like 80 to 100 blocks should be good. I'm not really sure why I thought this would be a super quick advancement to get. I guess I just forgot how tedious filling in lava sources can be. Not to mention that I thought the tunnel had to be 2 blocks wide, but upon looking now, striders are only 0.9 blocks wide, so once again, that was a big time loss. Either way, by now I had sunk over 30 minutes into making this tunnel, so I desperately needed it to work. There we go, attaboy. Okay, we're back. We gotta just hope that this is long enough. I really don't know what else to say other than that. So without further ado, I look so goofy. Here goes nothing. Oh my God, it's time. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Yes, we're doing it. Come on now, please be enough. Yes, we got it. Oh my goodness. First try, kind of. With nearly all of the Nether advancements done, all I had to do now was bring a ghast into the overworld. I don't even know what the best way of doing this. Oh! That almost worked. Okay, this is actually doable. Don't listen to him. Do you really think that this guy with a freaking arrow in his head knows what he's talking about? Trying to pull a ghast into a teeny tiny nether portal using only a fishing rod was definitely not practical, and to pull this off, I had to be smarter. Oh, I feel like I could spend the next 8 hours trying to do this and still not complete it. Ghasts, just like any mob, can spawn on the nether roof as long as there are spawnable spaces for them to do so. So the idea was to use this to my advantage and build a giant spawn platform with massive nether portals on either side for the ghast to fly through. Except They're just free flowing through the portal. They're not going in. Why aren't you? What the hell? I know what the problem is. I haven't went through myself. They don't know that it's safe. Oh, this is a lovely spot to be in. Okay. To make matters worse, even though gas can now go through the portals, they weren't showing up on the other side, which was very weird. Wait, no, is he in the cave? Is he in the cave? Did I just see him in the cave? Where did he go? What? Oh, he just spawned. He spawned in. He went right through the portal. I saw that with my own 2 eyes. What I failed to see with my own 2 eyes was the gunpowder at the base of the portal. That could only mean one thing. Somehow the gas were dying when they entered the portal. The only reason I could figure this was possible was that they were suffocating. So after clearing out a bunch of space on the overworld side, I gave it one final attempt. Oh, I hear a noise. I got it. Let's go. I didn't even know he was in here. Oh, that's amazing. That was totally unexpected, but I will take it. 25% done, and it's on to the overworld. Hey, buddy. Hey, we got it. Oh, bro, come on. I'm all over this thing. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not close enough? Okay, new strategy. We shall go up. Okay, while I'm up here, can I hit the skeletons at least? Oh, we got it. Let's go, baby. That was such a good shot. Bro, that one is so close. It's like in. Despite my difficulties hitting a bullseye, it was now thunderstorming outside. So yeah, I had a new priority. Oh yeah, I see some prey. I mean friends. I'm sorry. Okay, we did it. Can we get some F's in chat for this poor villager? Dude got dismantled. Anywho, now it was time to put that old engineering degree back to use for the first time in a couple of years. Do I really need to hit a bullseye, or do I need to make the game think that I hit a bullseye? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I think if I put this button here, it does indeed cycle the trapdoor. Perfect. Now all we need to do is come up here and we'll shoot a bunch of arrows right over top of the bullseye. Now with the push of a button, I think the game will think that I'm all the way over here. Oh, we got it. Oh, I'm way too smart. I saw it from a tutorial. I'm not gonna lie to you. After that, I set off to a pillager outpost, both to shoot a crossbow and to kill a pillager with the crossbow. It's actually insane how easy some of these are to complete. Now, the next 2 advancements require a village and a little bit of setup, but overall, I don't think they'll be too difficult. Okay, so this is John, and John has so graciously offered to help me get one of the advancements here. So, John, what do you have to say about this? Hopefully you're okay with it. Hey, thanks, John. Appreciate you, buddy. I'm not gonna help you get down. You can figure that one out on your own, okay? And from up here, I should be able to just hop in this hole. I'm not very excited. Oh my god, 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 oh my god! Yes, I did it! To round off the 6-hour mark, I put on a pair of ye old leather boots and walked on powdered snow. And with that, we were 40% through this challenge. At this point, there were just a few remaining advancements in the adventuring tab left. The first of which was looking at the ender dragon with the spyglass. Yeah, remember when I respawned the dragon at the very beginning of the video? Would have been nice to have done this then. Next up was unaliving 2 phantoms with a single arrow, which despite some difficulties wasn't too bad thanks to these cobwebs. And finally, I had to kill 1 more mob for the monsters hunted advancement. Only problem was that I had no idea what it was. So I did some research, and on the list of mobs, there was one of them that I have yet to find in this world. Where are you at? There he is. Okay, he's mad at me. We need to wait for him to convert into a Zoglin, just like that, and yes, monsters hunted. Yes, we finally got that achievement. Even better yet, there were still a few really easy ones to knock out. So I'm at a point now where I'm on paper pretty close to finishing all of the achievements. However, the achievements themselves are getting more and more complex. For example, now I need to breed all of the animals and eat every food item in the game. Now, of course, Minecraft does not give you a list of what you have and have not bred or consumed, so I am really just going in the dark here. Okay, we're officially halfway done eating things. This is good. This is good progress, I feel like. Oh my god, I feel I need to stop. I'm gonna have to actually pass out in real life right now. Until eventually there was just 1 single food item left. And don't worry, I plan to eat that one later. Okay, now I'm gonna give myself a half an hour here to try and breed the rest of the animals. I don't know if this is possible, but I'm really, really hoping it is. did it. Okay. There we go. Okay, the pandas have been bred. For the next two, we must head back into the nether. Honestly, I had no idea you could even breed striders. I guess an alternative title to this video could be like, man learns about striders plus other things. That's so adorable, a whole little family. They're so efficient with your space usage. And after rather dangerously breeding a pair of hoglins, we were just left with one final animal to breed. But I could not figure out what that animal actually was, so I just moved on and left that for future me to worry about. With just under 4 hours left and only 8 advancements left to complete, I was doing pretty good on time. However, once you factor in that I still had to do the hardest advancement in the game, you quickly realize that 4 hours is not very long. Firstly, I needed to find a good place to actually do the advancement. Ideally, it would be somewhere safe. So I'm here in the deep dark, and I need to find a place to actually set up this advancement. From the looks of it, this might just be a perfect place. That's strike one. That's strike one. It's fine. Everything's fine. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Regardless of my stupidity, this was the only way that I could get the darkness effect. In fact, I need to get every effect active at one single time. Here's the game plan. Step 1, build a beacon. Step 2, insert conduit. Oh, why does the conduit have like a heartbeat sound? It just sounds like the warden. I do not like that. Step 3, bring shulker to the deep dark. And no, I did not misspeak. I have to actually do that. Minecart going down, gonna get the shulker, send him on his way. We're off to a good start. This is actually going really good. Whoa, no, you're on the ceiling? I had to get a little crafty to get the shulker in position. I mean, just look at this invisible man. There's a man in this boat. Yes, he's actually in place. That is amazing. Oh my God, I only have 2 hours left. Step 4, commit rabbit genocide. Step 5, brew all of the potions. Step 6, make an escape tunnel. And finally, step 7 was to capture a dolphin. This one was not fun. You only have 2 minutes from the time the dolphin leaves the water before it suffocates. So after learning that the hard way, I had some better luck with the second guy. All right, John, you stay there, and you have a very important part in this process. Yes, we have Dolphin's Grace. John is coming in huge, folks. So yeah, it took nearly 3 hours to get set up to do the advancement. And honestly, I had no idea if it was even possible at this point. But what I did know was that it was time to get going. First stop, a pillager outpost. Oh yes, we have one right here. We have one right here. This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay, there it is. Right away, we got it. That's actually huge. Now we immediately need to head to the village, start a raid, and defeat the raid as fast as humanly possible. Are there any pumpkins around here? There actually are a bunch right here. Oh, this is perfect. We'll just make a bunch of these iron golems. Want to get to me? You got to go through my boys. And you're not getting through my boys, I'll tell you that much. That was a fast raid. That was a fast raid. Got him, got him, got him. Anytime now, anytime. I'm waiting. There it is. Okay, we got it. Now the clock is ticking. We have 5 minutes to complete this challenge. It's totally doable, but we cannot mess up. There's no leeway here. You hear this song? That's how fast my heart was beating in this moment. Your boy was nervous. I'm talking like physically unwell levels of nervousness. And that's because it was finally time to actually do the advancement. Okay, get in the water. Place this down. Break these. Come on, shoot me, pal. Okay, he shot me. Okay. Eat. Eat. Get it? Yes! I got it! 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 Oh my God, I got it! We just got the hardest advancement in all of Minecraft, and I have an hour left still. And it's a good thing I did. You see, in my head, I knew that How Did We Get Here was a hidden advancement. But what I didn't know is that there were other hidden advancements still left to complete. Basically, what I'm telling you is that the next hour is going to be a show. I need to breed a horse and a donkey, I think? I don't even know for sure. I'm just going off of a pure guess right now. So many horses, but no donkeys. It's okay, I just gotta find the donkey that's like nearby. You and you, do your thing. Make me a mule. I need a mule from you guys. right, 40 minutes left. I'm heading out on what may or may not be the last adventure ever in this hardcore world, to be honest with you. I kind of had this attitude of whatever happens, happens. Somehow I don't have my axe on me anymore. Deliver it to the note block. Yes, we got it. Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I think we can do this, actually. I release you. Are you going to attack? Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, I got it. Oh my goodness. Okay, if my math is correct, I only have 2 more advancements to get. Not going to be easy, but it's going to come down to the wire. I'll tell you that much right now, my friends. And of those 2 advancements, one of them required a lot of finessing, and the other one, well, you'll see. What? Oh, they all died but the zombie. Right now, I'm trying to kill 5 unique mobs with 1 crossbow shot. So the idea was that I weakened all of the mobs first with a potion of poison. However, zombies are immune to the poison effect, which I just learned right now. There we go. Okay, we got him. That was the most important part. Creeper's actually all on deck, ready to go. Love to see that. Love that enthusiasm. Okay, sheep is in. I'm gonna aim somewhere in the center and... Yes! Yes, I got it! The zombie still didn't die. Oh, I had to kill the cat to get it, but it was worth it. We did it, we did it, we did it. And as fate would have it, the rest of this challenge would come down to me finding 1 single cat. I honestly have no words. I don't even know what to do besides just fly around and look for villages. And honestly, that's all I really could do. I see a desert village here in the horizon. Okay, first village was a dud, but I see a second one. Not seeing much here though. And already there's a third village here. Dude, they really want me to get this achievement. What is your shape? As I looted village upon village in search of that last cat, time was not in my favor. This is where I get sappy. 13-year-old me, who thought he was basically doomed to work in a car factory his whole life, would have never thought I'd be sitting here right now. Who knew this giant, beautiful, hardcore world I created could be my job? And honestly, by this point, I should have been more scared of losing it. But in reality, I was almost wondering if that would be for the best. Sure, it's a great world, but I think I might be ready for something new, something different. I mean, I guess that's why we're doing this challenge in the first place, to leave it up to fate. And as time ran down and I began to lose hope, I was also filled with a sense of peace, knowing that whatever happens, we had a damn good run here in this hardcore world. Oh my god. Oh my god! This is it! I got it! Oh my god! I cannot believe that after all of this, I still have a hardcore world. Barely. Just barely. For the first time in Minecraft's history, my armor can look different from yours. There are now 160 unique designs for netherite armor alone. Not to mention, the same applies for diamond armor, gold armor, iron armor, all the way down to leather armor. Also, these two. In fact, according to this random person on Reddit, there are 3 undecillion unique combinations of armor. I have no idea if this is true, but today I'm going to get the dumbest set of armor imaginable and put cursive binding on it. Hello, hi. I don't really know where to begin here, considering that in the last episode I thought I was going to have to delete this world. I wasn't really planning on what to do next. But it's fine, I have ideas. All I know is that it's going to be lots of fun. But first things first, I think we need a change of scenery. Let's take a good look at these surroundings because it's the last time we're going to be seeing them for a bit. Look, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't ready for some change in this world. But don't worry, I had a plan. After I collect obsidian, because I forgot that. I mean, okay, well, here's 1 piece. That's a start, I guess. 2 pieces. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 14. Okay, now I have just over 4 stacks of rockets, and I'm going to fly in this direction until I run out, and that's where we're gonna end up. All the way out to right about here. Negative 13,800. Okay, this is way overkill, but you know what? It's the thought that counts. Well, here goes nothing. And I'm in a cave. Why does this always happen to me? And there's already a zombie spawner. Are you actually kidding me? Oh my god, all this loot. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take it. That defeats the whole purpose of this. Well, just to prove a point, I'm gonna go ahead and break this, and I guess we gotta find our way out of here now. The challenge hasn't started yet. This isn't supposed to be how this goes, dude. I surfaced in the middle of an ocean, but quickly found the nearest landmass. After traveling by foot for a while, I stumbled across a lava pool. I hereby call this a new beginning, which, believe it or not, is the first important step of this new journey. Out with the old and in with the new, baby. Oh yeah, we're starting over. Oh, that's so anticlimactic. The netherite doesn't even burn, dude. What the heck? Hang on. I planned for this. Out with the old and in with the new. I cannot believe this is what I have to do to destroy my armor. I will, however, keep my wings in this shulker box, which I will place somewhere special, and I won't access them for a while. Let the adventure begin, baby. Okay, but for real though, where is the iron at? I need some equipment. The first stone pickaxe of the new season. It's too bad I don't get any advancements for that though. Kind of makes me sad, not gonna lie. Sorry cows, but I still gotta eat. Wait a second, what is this? Is this what I think it is? Is this suspicious gravel? This is a trail ruin, you guys. All right, hang on though, I can't get distracted. I need to find a better place to live right now. Here's a fun fact. It's been 560 real life days since I had stone tools in this Minecraft world. And just like the last time, the first thing I did was look for a village. A leather helmet? Nice. Question, does this make him mad at me? Oh, yes it does. Oh, yes it does. But that's okay because we have our first iron pickaxe. Wow. Also, I'm making a shield because I am scared. But just as fast as I entered the village, I was soon leaving. All right, guys, thanks for your hospitality, but I must be on my way. Ooh, okay, this is a mountain biome. It looks like this could be promising. I think this is what we want here. I traveled 110,000 blocks away from the snow to find more snow. All right, I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm gonna go up and over the mountain as opposed to around it. I just have a good feeling about this. This is really dumb. Why am I doing this? Oh, it's fine. Okay. We're good. Look, man, I just want to find a new biome. I don't care if it's the cherry blossom. I don't care if it's a jungle with the bamboo. I just want a new place to live. Yes. Oh my God, I see it. And there's a village. Oh, this is actually perfect. Oh, this house has what I need. This is a smithing table. Okay, good to know. Round 2 of things that I should not be doing in this world. Dude, I love these. Are they like little flower petals? Pink petals. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Dude, these trees are so stinking cute. I can't even handle it. Well, I guess this is the new home. We might as well get settle in a little bit. I showed my appreciation to the beautiful new biome the only way I really knew how, by immediately changing what it looked like. Yeah, I think like right here should be a good spot for a little house. I didn't plan to spend my entire afternoon building this house, but I spent my entire afternoon building this house. I kind of like it though. It definitely fits in the vibe of the area, that's for sure. I think it's time that we get some better gear on our hands. Wait a second, dude. This village is scamming me. There isn't a single crop field. There's not even hay bales. Oh, that really slows things down a fair bit. Without crop fields to work with, I had to go find crops a different way, introducing shipwrecks. Now in theory, if I can just find a single potato and a single carrot, we can pretty much execute my plan. Okay, we found one. There's a chance this is a really smooth process. Ooh, wait, armor trims. Okay, and potatoes. No carrots, but we have 2 of the new armor trims. That's actually really good. Just gotta find one more and we'll be back on our way. Come on now, show me the carrots. Dang it, no carrots. 2 more armor trims. Okay, this is getting redundant. I have 4 of the same ones now. I don't even know what the point of that is. What on earth is this? It looks like 2 shipwrecks spawned inside of one another. I think this actually is what happened. And we got carrots. On the way home, I got to witness a dolphin show. Whoa, what a big jump. Holy cow, dude. And take a nap at the bottom of the ocean, which is honestly a sentence I never thought I would ever say. Now, I'm gonna have to go into the nether to get some things for this really dumb armor. I could just like go mining for everything that I need, but that's kind of boring. I think instead we'll go ahead and use these guys to get geared up a little bit. I've actually never really done it this way before, so I don't know how long it'll take. First order of business, we need a better way to get emeralds. Actually, we just need a way to get emeralds. I have 0 ways of getting emeralds right now. I promise it'll be bigger. This is just all that I have right now. We'll have a potato farm as well, of course. And finally, a wheat field. My only goal for the next hour is to farm as many crops as I possibly can. Look at him. He's just inspecting the bamboo. He's like, what is this weird thing you've planted in my community? Such a curious fellow he is. Just like that, our bamboo farm got 8 times the size. With some farms now built, I took a moment to do some pretty important math. While I'm thinking of it, we should probably do a head count on villagers. How many do I even have? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we do have enough technically, but if there's one thing I've learned is that villagers can and will find a way to kill themselves. In fact, while I have you guys over here, I think now would be a good time to get a couple of you locked away forever. Come with me. I have to like hoe the ground and then jump on the farmland to make it back into regular dirt just to be able to row a boat across this terrain. This is the silliest thing I have ever done, but that's okay because we finally have these two. I know I'm supposed to be farming technically, but I mean, villager breeders are kind of like a farm, right? Speaking of a farm, exciting news back at the wheat field. I've officially made my first piece of bread and I'm still hungry, so I better keep farming. Ooh, our first carrots grew in too. This is exciting, you guys. We're making expansions. You don't really think about it like this, but if you hang out at a village long enough, you kind of have like an early game semi-auto iron farm. I mean, it's very slow, but it gets the job done. POV. You're getting killed in a hole by this melon man. It's me. I'm the melon man. I guess what we can do is like start a tally of how many iron golems I've killed. This is like a data pack I got. It's really dumb, but I think it's kind of funny. It's been 0 days since an iron golem was killed. Officially been 1 day, 2 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 0 days. I don't know why I'm spending so much time digging out this hallway when in reality it's just gonna be like a villager breeder. I guess I just kind of feel bad that they're gonna be trapped in here forever, so I want to make this into a cool little pad. There really isn't much to say here. I'm just digging a big hole, but I do want to say that the new bamboo blocks are so freaking cool, dude. Just look at these things. All right, it's not quite done in here, but I think we're ready to bring you two bad boys along for the ride. Come on in, guys. There's 1, there's number 2, bed, and bed. There's 6 of them. Bye. Have fun. Love you guys. The first hour of farming was over, and one thing was clear. This was not going to be as easy as I initially thought. The main holdup is still these crop fields. Without crops, I can't breed villagers. Without villagers, I can't trade things. So yeah, you get the point. New goal for hour number 2 is decoration. I think I can handle that. All right, we now have 4 people in the dungeon. I mean the basement of fun. But that's enough fooling around. I want grandkids. All right, I guess they're sleepy. We'll try again tomorrow. Quick little crop field check-in. I've now decided to double the size of everything. So more crops later, I guess, but also no crops now. We are so close to having the farms filled in. Oh my God, this has taken like 2.5 hours. And I haven't even traded anything yet, dude. I've just been sitting here waiting for my crops to grow in. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and cut to right here. So I basically spent the last 5 hours farming my life away. I got a little carried away. So I doubled the size of the crop fields. I also made these into rows of carrots and potatoes. I don't know, I read somewhere that it makes it faster. I have no idea if that's true. Been absolutely grinding away on these pumpkins. Bamboo up the wazoo. Oh, my sword just broke, okay. Tons of sugarcane. I have cows and I have sheep. And these guys are ready to breed. We'll just go ahead here and do one final collection of the crops, which I will happily give to you guys. Oh yeah, come on now, let me see. That took way longer than it should have, but we finally are repopulating the village. First off, I know I want to have 2 farmers. We'll put one here and we'll put one here. All right, there's one guy locked in and there's another guy locked in. And now we have to just level these guys up. To get tons of XP, I'm going to have to trade more than just crops though. So I've been thinking of ways to farm iron without really actually farming iron, and I think this is the best way that I've come up with yet. So it involves a snowball, which is gonna make him really mad at me, and then very carefully I find the sweet spot and I just axe him away. At this point, I was going down a rabbit hole trying to optimize my not iron farm by spawn proofing large areas with buttons to control where the golems can spawn. Oh, they can spawn on the stairs. Okay, good to know. This is so janky. I really don't like doing it this way. I saw all kinds of weird stuff while trying to get this to work. Like this guy who spawned half inside the ground. Hey bud. Or this zombie wearing a spider head. What is homeboy doing? What are you doing, dude? You sick monster. Oh, it's working. Oh my God. Dare I say it's gonna happen. It happened. Oh my god, we actually have an iron farm. Can I even call this an iron farm? Back in Farmville, still working on that name. Despite having spent hours doubling the size of my farms and waiting for them to grow in, it was still severely lacking. So the main issue right now is that while all my farms are really quick to harvest, they take a long time to grow back in. I'm gonna need some renewability if I want this to actually work. And one of the better trades is actually this iron ingot trade, 4 of them for 1 emerald. That's a pretty good deal. And as much as it pains me to say, my current iron farm is not really getting the job done. Dude, you're gonna get yourself killed. Oh my god. Yeah, we gotta do something about that. From this day forward, I vow to slay 0 more iron golems. By hand, that is. Because we are gonna make an iron farm. And you're probably thinking, Brock, this is like an unreasonable amount of work to be doing just to not have to go mining for diamond armor. And to that, I say, yeah, you're right. If there's anything the first half of this video taught you, it should be that I don't know anything about iron farm mechanics. So if you're curious about how this thing works, you should just go watch ENX04's video. It's really good. Just like that, the farm is basically ready for use. I just gotta wait for nighttime and we can get the villagers and zombie loaded in here. Guys, your beds are this way. Yeah, there we go. Where are you going? Get back here. And there we go. Yeah, oh, yep, we have an iron farm. Immediately though, I realized I forgot to spawn-proof the area. Oh, crap. We'll just like bring you this way and like tie you to a tree or something. I don't know. Not a very humane way to live, but it's better than being dead, maybe, I guess. Huzzah! It works. Let's go, baby. Welcome to Murder, a story by me. So I boxed myself in this house to AFK while eating dinner and then completely fell asleep. Now in the morning, I returned to go check on the iron farm to see that my villagers have died and the farm had barely even ran. Good news is that we still have a fair bit of iron to trade and we can fix the farm pretty easily. Yes, it's working. Okay, and it should be like unbreakable now virtually. Back in the village now, I was putting all of that iron to good use. Diamond armor. Yes. Diamond tools. Oh my goodness. We will do diamond boots, diamond pants, diamond chest plate, and diamond helmet. Wait. You're probably thinking, Brock, how is this the dumbest armor in Minecraft? And the answer is it's not. But don't worry, I will get that later. So I think we're about ready to head into the nether because you see, I need to get netherite. Now I think in honor of doing things a bit differently, we're going to use beds to get ancient debris, which is something I have never done before, but honestly sounds kind of fun. The main thing I'm after right now is honestly just lava. I need obsidian to make this nether portal and I don't have any on the surface. Oh my god, there are so many creepers here. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Well, you know, I said I wasn't going to craft any tools. I don't think you can actually get a diamond hoe from villagers, so I will make one exception and we'll make one of these bad boys because that will come in handy in the deep dark. Apparently we're entering the deep dark now. It looks like this just kind of dead ends though. I'm like pretty sure I'm just going in a circle right now, but I can't confirm that. Yes, I found some. Honestly, I'm kind of on a time crunch right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead here and like channel my inner speedrunner and we're gonna make the portal right here. Why not? Please work, please work, please work. Okay, we're good. There's a fortress out here? Oh my god. Honestly, not a bad thing. Just a little bit dangerous. It also wouldn't be a bad idea to grab some gold. I think gold armor might just save me. I have a feeling I'm like literally digging through a lava lake. This might get ugly, you guys. Okay, so we're on level 15. But I think the way this works is I basically just take a bed. I dig as far one way as I can. And then I place the bed. And yeah, there we go. Lava is burning everything, but we have made a big hole. That's what's important. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna say that there's no ancient debris in here. It's not even worth my time. I would probably die before I found anything in there. Bed number 2, more lava. 1 piece, 2, explosion number 3, and I see more. Let's go, baby. We're cooking. 3 pieces, 4. Number 5. There's at least 1 piece buried away up here, but I can't get to it because the lava is just everywhere. Oh, wait, hang on. I have an idea. I need to find a piglin because if you didn't know, piglins can trade you fire resistance potions, which would honestly come in huge right now. I spent the next 30 minutes gathering as much gold as I could get my grubby melon hands on until this gas just destroyed all of it. No, I need you alive. I need you alive to trade. All of my gold just burnt. Oh, that is tough. That is extremely painful to see. Can you guys stop killing yourselves, please, and just trade me gold? How's that sound? Finally, we got one. We now are fire immune for at least 3 minutes. Oh, we got 2 of them. That's actually perfect. All right, I have 6 minutes of fire immunity. Let's make this count. Yes, we got it. That was a lot of work for 1 piece of ancient debris. I don't know if that was worth it. I don't know if this method is really worth it. Like, it gets you ancient debris, obviously, but like the amount of effort it requires and focus is like way higher than I would like. But that's piece number 8, so we are halfway there. 45 minutes of forgetting to record later. I was now at 14 pieces, so just 2 more left. As you can see, there's just been stupid amounts of lava. I honestly can't even get in here and see if there's an ancient debris. Dude, it's everywhere. What do I do? Where do I go? Like, this is so annoying, man. Finally, yes. Oh my god, I finally got it. 15 and 16. Honestly, I'm gonna leave that one there because having 17 pieces will do me no good. Honestly, I'm just gonna leave a path of nether brick over this way, which hopefully will just like lead me back to the portal area. So there's just a couple of more things that I need to do. Step 1, I need to breed more cows. The armor is gonna be dumb, but I will need an enchantment table for it. Speaking of enchantment table, I'm going to need some more obsidian for that. Now, considering I can't find lava for the life of me, we'll just put some right here, and hopefully we can just mine all this away. Conveniently, I will also need 2 more diamonds, which isn't a problem. I will also need some more lapis for the enchantment. Boom, boom, there we go. I guess for now, we'll just go ahead and put this right here in the middle of this field. Doesn't really matter where it goes. Now I need a good way to get rid of all these levels I have. You see, I'm about to do a lot of enchanting, but all of my levels are from before I started over. And I think that having a clean slate just makes sense. So I guess we just gotta go ahead and start. I just spent the last 5 minutes going through and renaming everything Pat. I'm sure there's at least one Pat watching, so if you are, yeah, come get your stuff. Anywho, the last thing we're going to need before we can start this process is a Curse of Binding Villager. Now, I don't know how easy this is going to be to get. We will find out. Yes! Oh, we got it! 38. I need more emeralds, though. Okay, there we go. Don't you go changing on me. Curse of Binding, baby. Back in Iron Golem land, things were starting to get a little bit out of hand. It's kind of hilarious, though. I love it. POV, you're a potato in my farm. Oh my gosh, you guys. I just realized a huge oversight in my plans. Once I put this armor on, I can't take it off. So I need to get mending ASAP. Who would like to be a mending villager? Would you like to be a mending villager? No, you would not. Get out of here. What about you, my friend? Wham, bam, thank you, my good sir. Make that 2 mending books, number 3, and number 4. And I will combine these 2 books together. This is the silliest thing I have ever done. And finally, we need to make a full set of leather armor. And there's actually a few more steps than you normally would encounter while making armor. So I'll go ahead and show you what to do. Step 1, you're going to enchant your leather armor with level 30 max enchantments. Wow, what? Just unbreaking? Oh, that's so bad. Okay, cool. Protection for thorns too. It's like way worse than I ever imagined it would be. This is the part of the video where I thought I would show you a simple 3-step process of how to make this dumb armor. But that was before the game decided to give me the worst enchantments imaginable. Look, dude, my armor may be stupid, but I still have class. I needed a new plan. In case you didn't know, leather armor really sucks. Like, it's really bad. In fact, it's so bad that I had to make an extensive list of all of the enchantments that I still need. The problem is that I'm waiting for these guys to grow up, to give me librarians, to give me the books, so we're kind of at a stopping point. At least that's what I thought. And then I remembered, oh my god, Swift Sneak. You can't get Swift Sneak from anything but the Deep Dark. Okay, so I'm back in this Deep Dark area. I'm hoping that it actually does lead into an ancient city. Ooh, it opens up, it looks like. All right, we're here. The goal is to get in, get Swift Sneak, maybe a couple of god apples, and get out. We got it right away, first chest. Oh, there's one. There's number 2. Yeah, I'm out of here. Swift Sneak 3 is ours. 4 more books and I can get the worst armor in the game. Oh, protection 3. Ooh, do I take it? Doing it. I'm gonna take it. This might bite me in the butt, but I think we'll be okay. Anybody working today? What are we up to, guys? Because I see an open workstation and no one has claimed it. I've literally been doing this for 40 minutes and I'm running out of hard drive space. So I'll be back when I have Unbreaking 3, Respiration 3, and Feather Falling 3. I would say Feather Falling 4, but I've been at this for over an hour and I need to eat dinner. Finally, we can combine all of the books and get the armor made. We'll start here with the boots because those seem like the most expensive ones. 28 levels for the boots? I hope those are the most expensive ones. Finally, I have the worst boots in Minecraft. Now to do that 3 more times. Considering that I still need a ton of XP, and I'm waiting for my crops to grow in before I can trade more with these Nimrods, we're gonna need a better plan. With just a couple of improvements, we can greatly increase how much XP we get from our villagers. Firstly, we're gonna need a lot more gold, some nether wart, some blaze rods, some brown mushrooms. So somehow we need to find a way to separate these emerald makers of ours. Maybe we'll move them like this way. There's 2 ways to get more XP from villagers. You can get more things to trade, or you can lower the price per trade. We're gonna do the second one. Take the crop fields, for example. One field is 18 by 9, aka 162 tiles. Assuming you get 4 crops per harvest, which by the way is generous, you get just shy of 650. Minus the 162 to replant, you are left with 486 crops. Divide that by 22 crops per emerald trade, and you learn that one of these fields is worth a whopping 22 emeralds. Yeah, we're gonna have to improve that. Boom. That's 1, that's 2, and 3. The plan was simple. Step 1, dig a staircase to the surface. Step 2, find a zombie. Oh, I see one. He has a helmet on too. What? No! No, my farm! All right, come here. I need you. Follow me in, buddy. Follow me in. This is gonna be bad. No, they're leaving! They're leaving! They're leaving! Everything's fine. We need a better plan. Step 3, rebuild the staircase, but better. Okay, new tactic. We're gonna drop in from above. All right, when sun sets, we ride, boys. Got some people you'd like to meet. Yes, there we go. I think if we go down here, he should be having a field day. All right, you've done your job. Proud of you. Thank you. Bam, bam. You're welcome. You'll thank me later. Okay, a little bit cheaper. We can do better than that. Come on in, pal. You know the drill. Thank you. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. Boom, boom. And finally, one last time. He's wearing an iron golem head. Get in there, you big bully. Cheap iron coming our way. I'm pretty sure my crop fields just got literally 22 times more effective, so that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, dude. I barely even use anything now. Okay, there we go. The pants are done. I spent the next hour or so grinding levels and re-rolling book trades to get the remaining enchantments. And despite a few hiccups, things were finally coming together. Ooh, I forgot Depth Strider on my boots. Oh, are we screwed? 37 levels? Oh, that was a huge oversight. Okay, 37 levels later, we finally have Depth Strider. Okay, so slight problem. I can't put Curse of Binding on my chestplate. Well, I could do that, but that would be very dumb. See, if I do that, I will never be able to fly, and that would really suck. So as much as it pains me, I'm gonna make a new one. I need 12 levels. Come on, boys. Yes. Oh my god. Yes. Level 12. We got it. Let's go. I can't wait. I'm actually like shaking with excitement right now, you guys. Boom, boom, bam. Oh, the anvil broke too. How perfect. There is the armor. There's just a couple more steps. Firstly, we must apply armor trims. And you know I had to go with the netherite upgrade just for the flex. Boom and boom. And finally, just to make this armor look more like netherite, we'll do a purple dye and a black dye. Now, that's about as close as I can figure out how to get it. And with that, my friends, we now have the stupidest armor in Minecraft history. I'm probably gonna die soon, but at least I can walk on powdered snow. That's literally it. That's the only advantage. When I was a kid first getting into Minecraft, I remember spending countless hours loading into a new peaceful world and grinding diamonds like I had a mortgage to pay. I was a madman. I'm pretty sure 14-year-old Brock thought that the year was 1957, and he literally was a coal miner in West Virginia. This was just one example of many different times in my life when I have fallen completely in love with Minecraft. But lately, I've been in a bit of a rut with this game, and it's time that we fix that. So join me over the next 100 days as I relearn how to actually have fun playing this game again. Our journey begins on day 3,803, ironically, but we'll go ahead and call it day 1 so that my fragile brain doesn't implode while trying to keep track of the days during this recording. Speaking of fragile, I now have the defense of a wet pool noodle thanks to my new trendy cursive binding leather armor that we got in the last video. And thanks to my farming efforts to get this armor, I've pretty much left this place looking like a regular Minecraft village that needs a haircut. So it's time we show this place some love. I began by tearing down this house that I apparently had borrowed blocks from in the last episode, as well as removing buttons and filling in these ugly holes. I spent the rest of that afternoon reshaping the land a bit before nighttime was here, meaning it was time to test my new armor against the local mob and gauge how long I will still have a pulse in this world. How much damage does this do? Half a heart per hit? That's not too bad. The only real trouble now are skeletons, which can easily turn me from a melon man into melon pulp if I get caught in a mosh pit with them. I spent the morning of day 2 wondering what sort of psychedelics the Mojang devs were on when they generated this village and taking matters into my own hands. Just as I was getting used to the peace and quiet of having my villagers locked away in a dungeon, a basement, I was greeted by an angry toddler in my house. There's a baby in my house! That's okay, nothing some clever signage can't fix. All of that terraforming around the base had me quite short on dirt, however, so I took to the countryside to collect some. I made sure to make it look natural though, so as not to disturb my good buddy Looney across the pond. On the way home, I was ambushed by 2 spiders with speed potions, as well as finding a wannabe scarecrow in my wheat field. The next morning, I said something, but my mic was muted. Don't worry, it probably wasn't important anyways. Before going through and hoeing all of the pathways this village came with, since they lead literally nowhere. And that's it. That's all I did for the entire day. Realizing now that I must live with the consequences of my own silly actions, I started constructing a plan. If I want any chance of feeling enjoyment during the next 100 days and beyond, I'm going to need to design my base such that it's very difficult to die. Speaking of my own actions, what kind of scoundrel puts their nether portal in the very bottom of a cave like this? Anyways, after collecting some netherrack and having a complete panic attack trying to leave the caves, I don't like it here, it was time to get to work on day 5. Did I really just break my diamond sword collecting bamboo? Oh my god, I broke a diamond hoe too. What am I doing? At this point, I decided the only thing wrong with this village was everything in it. So I spent day 6 focusing my efforts on clearing away trees and vacated villager houses, which just so happened to be all of them. These destruction efforts continued their way through day 7, including but not limited to the local church. That night, however, I was faced with quite an interesting conundrum. Oh, don't tell me there's phantoms here. Don't tell me there's phantoms. Aha, and there's a creeper, but look what I got. Look what I got! You're both scared of me! The next day, I caught wind of a potential visit from PETA regarding the living conditions of my farm animals, so I played things safe and murdered every last one of those suckers. Look man, I have no time for any lawsuits over these 100 days. On day 9, I thought I would switch things up. So instead of terraforming, I did some terraforming. Doing this terraforming was honestly a much needed break from all of the terraforming I had done so far. I also attempted to go caving, and by attempted, I mean I saw these skeletons and turned the hell around. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. I spent the day continuing to fix the terrain whilst thinking of a passive-aggressive email to send to the Mojang devs regarding their terrain generation. I also discovered that basically any nighttime work is now best done in third-person mode, considering a creeper sneaking up on me is the real threat to the series at this point. The following day, I went through and destroyed all of the crop fields that I spent so long growing in the last video. And after a much-needed Efficiency 4 shovel enchant, I leveled out the remaining terrain. routine. I'll be honest, right now, my Minecraft world was feeling kind of messy. I started having flashbacks to my recent move in real life, where like the first thing I did was set up my office and get to work. Meanwhile, my entire garage was full of clutter and boxes. I mean, yeah, sure, this base had been functional so far, but at the end of the day, it's not a place I'm excited about calling home. But the fact that I at least wanted to change it for the better, that was a good enough place to start. Despite my entire base being pretty much destroyed at this point, I finally had enough clarity to envision what this place could potentially look like. So I began outlining where I wanted the actual crop fields to go. With the outline of the village in place, I went through and determined the proper center, which I outlined with a big circle. In case you forgot, the main goal of Minecraft is actually to make this block game feel less like a block and more like a circle. The rest of that night was spent killing more spiders with speed potions. Man, I really gotta find their dealer for science. On day 13, I gave myself access to my elytra again, because haven't I been through enough already? All jokes aside, in the last video when I threw everything away, this was the only thing I kept because I knew one day I would need it again. I set off to find myself a spruce sapling. Much like your average motorcycle rider, these wings offer very little protection, but do help me overcompensate for my average looks by making me think I look cool. I will need a ton of spruce wood for my plans, so later that day, I set up a makeshift tree farm area that looks terrible, but that's okay because it's outside of my village. It's important to recognize here that I make all of my villagers sign a contract that actually allows me to wake them up in the middle of the night and trade things whenever I want, which was nice because it allowed me to get a much needed axe upgrade at 3 a.m. And then this happened. Dude, what? Why is there so many zombies? What is this? What is going on? I spent the next morning collecting more wood before laying down the framework for what will eventually be a proper village wall, since apparently my one tall netherrack outline won't protect me from, well, anything. I kept the block palette pretty simple here, alternating between oak wood and spruce wood, which will hopefully provide some nice contrast to the cherry forest in the background. As I'm sure will be the case throughout many parts of this video, I came nowhere near to finishing this in one day. So the following day, I went through completing the outline and then stripping the spruce wood. I also took an opportunity that evening to trick shot some zombies in an effort to make Machinima's top 10 plays this week, really hoping it's the one, before continuing up the wall building. I'll save you the headache of watching me mindlessly place logs and just cut to right about here. Really not much happened in this time. I mean, besides chopping and placing a stupid amount of oak logs, I did manage to snag some melon seeds from a wandering trader, which I definitely didn't murder, as well as trap a pillager captain in this boat, which I'm sure will definitely be used later in this video foreshadowing. By now it was day 19, and I started off that day pretty chill by digging out some watering holes that would eventually hydrate my crop fields before doing some enchanting. I managed to get both a Fortune 3 pickaxe and, thanks to my villagers, a Silk Touch bad boy, which is exactly what I needed. I set off flying and got completely sidetracked, finding out that I do in fact have neighbors, before setting out in search of a frozen river for some ice. Aha! I found one! A frozen river! It should not have been this hard. I knew there was one over here though. Filling in water sources one by one with buckets makes me want to rip my hair out, so having a few stacks of ice to aid in that will just make my life so much easier. I was, however, a little bit overzealous in the ice collection, but that's not really a big deal since these are all in unloaded chunks, meaning that the next time I come back, it should all still be here. The next morning, I began digging out the central circle a bit. I'll be honest, like most things I do in life, I have no idea what my plan is for this. All I know is I want it to be a big hole with something in it. You'll have to let me know. But at the very least, right now, it's a very good way to get some blocks. By now, it was day 20, and even though there was still so much work to do, I was just starting to overcome the initial friction that comes with a new project in Minecraft. It was very subtle, but I was slowly beginning to enter that autopilot mode. I put all of the stone that I just collected to good use and began outlining a structure for what would eventually serve as some elevated crop fields. After building up the first retaining wall, I soon realized that once again my plans for world domination were being foiled by terrain generation. But no worries, after reshaping more of the land, I landed, landed, on some shapes that I think work pretty well. Now all there was left to do was fill in the remaining dirt and bam, we got ourselves a great place to grow some crops. Next, I went through adding a trim of cherry wood along the edge of the retaining walls, which honestly, I don't think looks all too great. I also tested out different accents along the edges of the walls, only to find them very ugly and revert back to the original. Now would have been a great time to actually plant some crops up here, but unfortunately, I won't gain access to the plants that I need here until much later in the playthrough. And thanks to all of that derping around, it was now day 24, and I refocused my efforts to the lower area, going through with ice and adding in more water patches. Using oak leaves, I began slowly creating borders, with this idea that they would separate the different patches of fields. Much like me at the 8th grade school dance, this remaining villager house was horrendously awkward and looked quite out of place. So I spent the morning removing it and instead adding a simple ladder entrance with a trapdoor. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. Luckily though, this gave me the space to continue my leaf placing well into the night, where I spotted this local iron golem having a really terrible time. By sunrise, all of the leaves were in place, and this area was looking more like a spider web than anything at all beautiful. But sometimes you just gotta give things a chance, man. That morning, I did some more trading with my villagers to get a mending book on my shovel and repair it with the help of my farmers. My previous terraforming efforts left this rather sizable divot in the ground, which honestly I thought for a while would make a cool detail, maybe like a pond or something, but I decided now I better just fill it in. With things more flattened out now, though, I was able to now go through and outline a very rough pathway as well as install these little fence gates to connect up the area a bit. The area was beginning to enter phase 2, which meant that I actually needed to start placing blocks and making it look semi-good. But I'll be honest, I wasn't mentally ready for this part yet. You see, I have spent the last 4 months not only traveling and moving into a new house in real life, but also taking advantage of some amazing opportunities to experience a different side of Minecraft than I'm used to. More on that later though. So on day 27, I took an entirely different approach to the game and spent the entire day fishing. This is basically like the Minecraft equivalent to one of those days where I end up just playing Valorant for 6 hours instead of editing like I'm supposed to. But apart from being a much needed mental reset, this day spent fishing was not a total waste. Immediately, I put all of the fish to good use and began breeding up some of the local village cats, which will come in handy very soon. Feeling a bit refreshed from my time at sea, I spent some more time that day widening my pathways and installing some more water sources. It was finally time to start replanting all of my crop fields. After all, my villagers probably haven't eaten in at least 10 business days. I went through tilling the soil and planting in carrots, potatoes, and wheat seeds at differing elevations, making sure to take time and breed up my cat army in between. I spent the rest of that evening chopping down spruce wood, where I had an interesting run-in with this zombie. The next morning, I accidentally bought way too many pants from this man before purchasing myself a new diamond sword. Wow. After trading with my farmers for some more levels, I rolled a looting 3 enchantment as well as lined up a smite 4 enchantment, which I intended to use very soon. Unfortunately though, my villagers were now on strike, protesting the 16-hour workday I just put them through. So I spent a while that night collecting some more stone before picking fights with the locals to get levels that way. The next morning, I watched this man get absolutely manhandled before revisiting my villagers for some more XP, since they were no longer mad at me. Finally, I collected the new Smite 4 sword, and before long, I had a new and improved weapon that was much better than the junk I was using previously. That night, while chopping some more trees, I had a pretty good opportunity to put this bad boy to use, and might I say, it does a pretty fine job. Day 32 was a good one, not just because my kitten army was now reaching max capacity, but because it was finally time to start that new project that I have been hinting at. I flew out to the nearby ocean to scout locations before setting up a chest to hold all of my relevant materials. Like pretty much everything I do in life, I could only assume that I've grossly underestimated what this new project will entail. So I spent the rest of that night collecting more stone, dirt, and wood than I thought I would need. Bright and early the next day, myself and the kitten crew set off to find their new home, which, if you haven't gathered it by now, will be in the creeper farm we are about to build. Straight away, I got constructing these dirt platforms in the ocean, morning, which was a great opportunity to practice the teleport trick that I've been training them to learn the past few days. With all of the cats in place, I started constructing a dirt pillar all the way up and began building the creeper farm the only way I knew how, from the bottom up. This first area is going to be the kill chamber, aka where the creepers fall and meet my looting 3 sword. The next morning, it was time to build up the central funneling system, which basically catches the creepers in water and then pushes them into the drop chute. You see, nothing makes me feel quite brain dead like watching a Minecraft tutorial. So I'm really trying to avoid watching one and go purely off memory for this farm instead. This did mean, however, that a fair bit of trial and error was required to get the water streams how I needed them. But hey, at least my little brain was enriched, right? Now it was time to build the actual spawning platforms. The first step here was to build the platform itself, followed by placing in a series of carpets which prevent spiders from spawning. From there, you simply head down, grab a cat, lure it up to the center of the platform because creepers are scared of these little guys, and then you just repeat the process over and over and over, making sure to also go through and add trapdoors to the roof, which will ensure no zombies, skeletons, or otherwise other tall boys will spawn here, as well as along the edges, which ensures the creepers will actually want to yeet themselves off. This was a process that took me the next 4 days to finish. Partially because 12 layers is a lot to build, and also because, like I said before, I am awful at planning and had to regularly go back and collect more materials. But finally, on day 39, I began construction of the massive roof above the farm. You see, creepers, like really any mob in this game, need complete darkness to spawn, and this will ensure my farm is running at maximum efficiency. And finally, after nearly 2 hours of work, the farm was fully operational.
Well, this is anticlimactic. They're not coming. Why aren't they coming? What's going on?
Yeah, it didn't work. Either I built something wrong, or all of the creepers in my world just decided that, you know what, they're actually cool with cats. So, against my sanity, I checked out the classic tutorial from Logical Geek Boy, which this farm is pretty basely loosed on anyways, only to realize I still need more blocks outside that the creepers think they can walk onto. So that night, I moseyed my way carefully down through the platforms, replacing torches to turn off the Oh Jesus, I just hit my cat. Before getting back to work on the platform extensions on day 40. I was already regretting my decision to slaughter all of my sheep earlier in the video, since now I was out of carpets. So I spent the rest of that evening collecting more sheep in a holding pen, before leaving myself this handy dandy reference sign, so I would actually remember what the heck I was doing upon logging back in the next day. The next day, coincidentally, both in-game and real life, I had a different idea about how to get some wool. So I set off exploring instead. I took a quick little pit stop at this nearby village, but found nothing more than some leather armor, not sure what that's good for, before raiding their crop fields and heading out to shear some sheep in the wild, because I need wool and I need it now. In fact, doing this gave me even a better idea to get my grubby melon hands on even more wool, but this one involved a more dangerous trip to the ancient city, which honestly I wasn't all too thrilled about, but I knew would be well worth it. Just as I expected, there was no shortage of wool here. But what I didn't expect was to find another ancient city directly connected to the first one. I honestly have never seen this before. I didn't even know it was possible. But that's about enough excitement for me down here. After all, the goal is to not have a panic attack during this playthrough. Luckily for me though, I finally had enough materials to finish the platform extensions on day 42, and so the next day I once again made my way down through the farm, removing torch after torch. And finally, my friends, I had yet again succeeded at making another mediocre farm inside of this hardcore world. And I spent the remainder of that day slaughtering creepers and celebrating my new accomplishment. The next day, I made one final improvement to stop the creepers from clipping the edges, when I had quite a philosophical thought.
Something about this does not feel very safe. It is almost as if I am
Ah, yes, that was quite a deep thought for my little brain to rationalize. Anyways, I spent a while longer hacking away to collect more gunpowder before heading out to collect some copper, which I will need for my next quest. In true Brock fashion, it's time we see what the new Minecraft 20 update has to offer, only 3 months late to the party. So I crafted myself a brush and set off in search of gravel and sand that gave me the side eye.
Oh, hang on. Now you look a little suspicious, my friend. Oh, never mind. I think I hit the wrong button. Oh, I have to go this way. Oh, okay. Good to know. A wooden hoe. Wow, that is so good. The golden nugget. Wow, okay. Really coming through with that good loot. Take me out to dinner next time before you spoil me this much, game.
As much as I love hoes, I was after something a bit more rare here. I did a quick research to find that sniffer eggs can actually only be dug up in warm oceans. So I set off that night to find just that.
Dude, do they only bury wooden hoes in these things? Oh, hang on. I think I just found something.
Yes! This is what I wanted. Let's go, baby. I finally had 2 of these little sniffer eggs, which is infinitely better than just one of them, because now I can actually breed these suckers. I should also mention that while I was out, I managed to scavenge some beetroot seeds from a village, so I could finally begin adding that into my crop area. The next day, I went through adding in these fun spruce slab details around the farming area before continuing my expansions of the crop fields. I pretty much just spent the entirety of today going through and hoeing the entire area, and then going back through to make sure none of the ground was thirsty. I did make one trip out to sea that evening to collect some moss from a shipwreck, which will come in handy with my sniffy boys here very soon. On the way home, I made a quick pit stop at the creeper farm to gather 30 levels before heading home and beginning a new build. In usual fashion, I just started digging out an archway and placing in blocks, despite the fact that I had no idea what I was doing at this point. Before long though, the archway was looking pretty good, so I went inside and began clearing out the area that I will go on to call the Smelly Cave. That's all I could think of? Okay, whatever. Like the unprepared, soon-to-be father of twins that I am, I frantically purchased some name tags the next morning before getting back to work digging. Oh, it's cracking. I think the eggs are hatching, you guys. Oh my god, we have one. Let's go. How you doing? Oh my god, there's 2 of them.
I shall name you Smelly, and I shall name you Nelly.
Completely ashamed of the living conditions that my new children were living in, I frantically continued to work on clearing the inside room. The next morning, though, while repairing my tools, I had quite the interesting run-in with one of my librarians.
No, get back in there. There's nowhere for you to go up here. Do you want to come with me? If you really want to, I think I can have a spot for you. I'll tell you what, if you make it up this ladder, I will... Okay, you made it up the ladder.
Without hesitation, I brought this man into the Smelly Cave. God, that still sounds so wrong to say.
I shall name you Bruce, and Bruce, you will commit your life to studying the sniffers.
Later that day, I chopped down some trees and also dyed my sheep red, since I eventually planned to make Bruce a proper research tent, and red just seems like the right color for that. Day 51 was a fun day of random shenanigans. I started out that morning planting some crops before realizing my time would be better spent collecting moss, so I could begin decorating the sniffer cave. After all, I do want this place to actually look cool. Sniffers can sniff up ancient plants on a bunch of different blocks, including mud, so I spent that afternoon at the nearby river collecting some the old-fashioned way. I like to imagine that my man Bruce was the first person to discover sniffers, so for the floor I wanted to go through with a bunch of the different sniffable blocks, as if he's been doing like a bunch of extensive research and testing. And speaking of Bruce, I soon got to work on his cabin of research, which, I'll be honest, is just a triangle hut made from this red wool. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but then again, Bruce is a pretty simple man. I spent that night continuing to expand my crop fields with more beetroot before, committing arson. Yeah, I burned this man alive. With all of the iron golems sufficiently burned, I was able to spend the next morning fully planting in my crop fields. At this point, I'm still planting everything in these rows, which does make the crops grow in faster, but at the downside of potentially looking like hot garbage. But I won't know how I feel about that until much later. I took a pit stop back in the Smelly Cave to witness both Smelly and Nellie's first sniff. It's the moments like these that make me such a proud parent. I spent the rest of that evening repairing my tools at the creeper farm. Upon my flight back home, though, I got thinking that a beacon would do me well with all of this digging that I've been doing. So I made myself a shield and set off to the Nether. In theory, this should be a pretty straightforward process when you factor in that my nether portal is basically inside of this here nether fortress. So I lowered my render distance to hopefully increase spawn rates a bit and got searching for the wither skeletons. I really don't know who I pissed off to make this happen, but I searched that entire fortress left, right, and center for 15 minutes straight and didn't find a single mob, let alone a wither skeleton. Feeling a bit defeated, I set off to the nearby Soul Sand Valley to get some bone blocks, since I don't really have a good skeleton farm yet. Actually, I don't have any skeleton farm yet. I did manage to find another fortress though, this one with a couple of wither skeletons, but no luck on beheading any of them, unfortunately. Back at home, I took an opportunity to clear out a few more layers of the central hole while also collecting some moss, which is basically my fastest way to get rid of blocks right now with Haste 2 being out of the question. Nelson and Smelson have been hard at work sniffing blocks, which finally meant that I had 2 of the torch flowers needed to breed them. To think that I'm going to be a grandparent, you guys. Can you believe it? Oh, also, Bruce has moved into his cabin officially, where I intend for him to live forever. It was finally time to put all of that moss I just collected to good use. So, after collecting a bit more cobblestone, I was ready to finish the decoration of the Smelly Cave. I wanted the walls to start off with moss at the bottom and then slowly transition to the darker blocks near the ceiling, which I thought would be a pretty nice little gradient in here. I did have to make a trip down into the caves to get a bit more deep slate, but besides that, decoration was coming along smoothly, and by the end of day 57, all of the walls were built up. On day 58, I did some enchanting and said hi to my librarians to make myself an efficiency 4 silk touch hoe, which I immediately put to good use collecting up some azalea leaves. These leaves, along with a few lanterns for lighting, added some nice details to the cave as well. I really can't figure out why the hell Smelly and Nellie were doing this, but they would not get off of Bruce's cabin that evening, almost as if they were trying to implode it on top of him. Now pretty worried for his safety, I spent a bit that evening reinforcing the base and moving him to a safer spot in the corner. Feeling pretty excited now about having access to the ancient flowers, I started laying out dedicated farming areas for pitcher pods and the torch flower seeds. I'll be honest, I've been so out of the loop with Minecraft in the last few months that I thought for certain you could bone meal these flowers and get more of them that way. I guess the good news is that I figured out this information on day 59, meaning that Nellie and Smelly still have plenty of time to keep digging up more plants to hopefully fill up these fields before day 100. Actually, I'm just kidding. I think we all know that if I really want to get enough of these plants for my needs, then I will need to set up a bootleg sniffer farm using all of their offspring. So I started digging out a massive room right behind Bruce's tent. I don't know, I just like to imagine he's the ringleader of this very highly secret operation. Considering I was now having so much fun just completely winging this playthrough, I decided to build this sniffer farm completely on my own. After all, I really don't think it should be that complicated. I can't express to you how much more fun it is for me to play the game this way as opposed to just following tutorials for everything like I've definitely been guilty of in the past. Anyways, by now the minecart tracks were in place and I was realizing I would need some powered rails to actually make this bad boy work. So I set off caving in search of some redstone and gold. While I was down there, I also managed to find a geode and a zombie spawner, which I have no idea if I'll actually ever use, but hey, it's good to know, I guess. And all of that mining sure did come in handy, because I now had all of the powered rails I would need to finish this farm. The basic idea here I had in mind was that anytime a sniffer would dig something up, the hopper minecart below would suck it up through the block and output it into this chest. I went through filling in the layer above the minecart with dirt before digging out another layer of the ceiling going and breeding Smelly and Nelly once more to plant a couple of eggs into the farm. I was going just a wee bit insane, being cooped up inside all day though, so that night I started laying out a pumpkin patch. Next to that, I decided to put my 3 melon seeds to use and start the humble beginnings of a melon farm, before stopping back at the sniffer farm to see we already had a baby in there. I spent a good chunk of that afternoon just running around my base, observing the area, and honestly thinking. I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but so many of my good ideas come from doing this. It's kind of therapeutic in a way. And in doing this, I realized that something just felt off. I had no idea exactly what the problem was right now, but my gut just felt like the pathways were in the wrong place. So I began by removing all of them. Once again, feeling the need to get rid of everything I owned, I had to do something about this sheep pen in the middle of my base. But as opposed to committing mass murder for the second time this video, I thought these guys were maybe more deserving of a proper home. So I broke them free and moved them into one of the sectioned off areas that I made earlier. One task at a time, I started solving problems. The first issue I had run into was that my crop fields were way too small. So using more oak leaves, I began laying out much larger areas to grow them in. I quickly realized in doing this that my storage system, consisting of 4 random unorganized chests in the middle of the area, was not really an ideal way of playing this game. So it was time to also do something about that. I had the idea to store organic blocks like moss, dirt, and the different stones right here inside the smelly cave with the sniffers, especially considering that many of these blocks were used in the construction of this place to begin with. As for everything else, well, I know that getting a proper storage system in place wasn't really in the cards for this 100 days playthrough, but honestly, anything would be better than what I had right now. So I began digging out a little nook into the side of this wall, which would serve as the temporary place to put everything. And now the only thing in between me and being organized was my own lack of self-control, which I'll admit was quite the risk to take, but I'm trying to be better, damn it. Days 64 and 65 were probably the most boring days in this entire playthrough, as I basically spent the entirety of them just moving items from one chest to another chest. But honestly, I feel like this is the price I pay for being so disorganized all the time. I will admit though, it did feel pretty dang good having everything put away. Despite the fact that my bootleg sniffer farm had now built up a decent population of workers, the farm was not producing any items yet. So in a feeble attempt to make this thing work, I did the only thing I could think of and dug out the ceiling by 1 more block because I don't know why, but I just did. I have no idea if this actually did anything or if it was just some crazy coincidence, but I swear to God, the next morning I caught the first sniffer actually doing something here in the farm. So despite my newfound confidence, the farm was fully operational. With my clutter finally out of the way as well, I was able to put the outline for the final crop field in as well. And so I got to work. I decided having so many different crops planted so close to one another just looked messy and caused my eyes to have no idea what I was looking at. So instead, I went through and made this entire field one big carrot farm. And even though it's not even grown in at this point, I can already tell it was making the area feel so much better. So using the same idea, I turned this area into a massive wheat field. That night, I continued breeding up my sniffer army, which at this point is getting pretty ridiculous in size, before expanding on the melon farm that I had forgotten about completely. I also had to dispatch this Enderman who made quite the mess with dirt blocks inside of my storage cave here. I spent the entire next day continuing my farm field expansions. This third area I decided would be a massive field of beetroot. Look, I'm done pretending that this is like the worst crop of the game, you guys. I mean, sure, it's pretty damn useless in terms of functionality, but I must admit, there's just something about a giant beetroot field that looks so nice. Unfortunately though, my villagers are directly below this area, and despite the fact that I have built them a literal safe house down there, they constantly feel the need to spawn iron golems on the surface to protect them. I had to spend the entire afternoon that day killing all of these guys though, since they have a terrible habit of trampling all of my crops. By day 69, all of the new crop areas were planted and I was so much happier with how this place was looking. I finally finished planting in the melon field that evening when I had another run-in with the wandering trader who sold me some cactus, which is honestly good because I've yet to find a desert out in these parts. I then kindly asked him to get the hell off my property. I finished off that night going through, adding detail to the pumpkin and melon patches with some podzol, corster, and azalea leaves, which round out the area quite nicely if I do say so myself. Having spent way too much time lately playing Stardew Valley, I frantically started building scarecrows the next day. Even though these won't add any function to the base, I'm definitely going to keep them because they are cute and I like them. You can really tell at this point that I was getting back into the Minecraft groove because for the first time in this 100 days playthrough, I decided to actually build something outside. It's so sad that that's true. I kept this one pretty simple as a cute little house here in the carrot field, but honestly, I have no idea what to put inside here, so if you have any ideas, let me know. With the new house in place though, I thought I should revisit the idea of pathways since I would need a way to properly navigate around this place. That night, I also realized I never put any scarecrows here in the carrot field, so after building up more of those, I installed another pathway through the field leading up to the storage barn. Honestly, I like these paths way more than the ones I built previously. Unfortunately, my villagers were continuing to spawn iron golems, so it was time to do something about that. I already knew going into this playthrough that I wasn't going to keep this weird basement place as their permanent home, so I was fine moving them anyways, and I liked the idea of having them eventually live in the very center of the base here for reasons I will get to later, but for now I started digging out a tunnel that leads to the central hole. I also took some time that evening to just fly around and appreciate the progress I've made so far in this place, before getting to work planting the actual pitcher pod and torch flower field, now that the sniffer farm was doing its thing. I would love to show you some footage of me actually moving all of the villagers to their new home, but yeah, I didn't record anything on day 73, but just take my word for it when I say they are now all inside of this box. I promise we will eventually give them a proper home, but today is not that day. Luckily though, they don't seem very fazed by the move, so after a quick librarian trade, I was able to get mending on my axe and spend the remainder of the day at the creeper farm repairing that along with the rest of my tools. I was finally at a place though where my lack of deep slate was becoming quite the problem, but instead of just diving into the nearby caves and continuing to collect it that way like a peasant, I knew it was time to take a different approach to the matter. So yet again, my 3 brain cells did their thing and gave me the idea to dig out another hole into the sidewall here, this time to create a mine shaft. I kept the outside design of this thing pretty darn simple if I do say so myself, but as far as the inside, I dug out this winding cave and decorated the walls with moss, cobblestone, and lots of different dirt to make this feel like a proper entrance. It also gave me a pretty easy way to make the mine shaft look good for the time being and hide the fact that right now, it's basically just a massive staircase down to deep slate level. And I pretty much just spent the entirety of that day digging my way down, trying my best to cover up these safety hazards that kept presenting themselves. I also can't say that I was exactly thrilled to see this cave was covered in skulk, but luckily I was able to ignore it for the time being and find myself some diamonds. The sniffer farm was working overtime at this point, so I spent the morning of day 77 filling in more of my pitcher pod and torch flower fields, which I have to admit look pretty dang good and have been worth the wait. That afternoon, however, I was looking to continue my farming expansion, so I set off in search of sweet berries at the nearby taiga biome. Look, in terms of function, we all know these things are about as useful as a wet paper towel, but I thought they would make for a pretty cool vineyard back here at the base. So that night, I started prepping the area and going through planting the berries in rows, not just so it looks cool, but so I can actually harvest them. By now, I had quite the craving for some steak, so I set off to befriend some local cows in hopes of gaining their trust and one day slaughtering them. I'm playing the long game though, so for now, I just lured them into this nice holding area next to my sheep field. After planting planting even more torch flowers that afternoon, I decided now would be a good time to start frameworking another building here in the wheat field. The only goal for right now was to get a good shape in place because I could easily go through and fill in the details in the walls later. And by nightfall, I was quite pleased with what I had built so far. I also quickly realized that harvesting sweet berries was shaping up to be quite the difficult task. So I spent the rest of that evening covering them in spruce slab, which still allows me to harvest them while keeping the thorns out of my feet. After finishing the framework for the vineyard the next day, I spent the entire day chopping wood. That's it. That's all I did. It was day 80, baby. And at this point in the challenge, I was completely dialed in, just building my heart away without a care in the world, honestly. It almost feels like I blacked out and remember very little from this time, just simply because I was so damn immersed in what I was doing. And for the first time in about 6 months, I felt that spark coming back in my hardcore world. That same spark that helped me transform a village way back at the very beginning. I was spending less time thinking about what I wanted to do and more time just doing it. And it got me thinking, this whole time I was worried I was falling out of love with my Minecraft world or getting burnt out, but the reality was that I was just invested in other areas of the game, or honestly even life. Quick little story time. You see, back in July, I got invited by my buddy Lagundo to try out for MCC Rising, which is this awesome opportunity where new creators get to compete in the Minecraft Championship. Obviously, I was down. So that weekend, my teammates and I stayed up super late making an application video, submitting it, and nervously awaiting to hear back. It's also important to note that there were thousands of applications, but only 10 teams would make it in. And we were one of them. In just 3 short weeks, I would be competing in one of the biggest Minecraft tournaments ever, having never played an ounce of PvP or parkour in my life. And while obviously placement doesn't really matter, I just wanted to make damn sure I didn't embarrass myself here. So I grinded. I spent so many hours the next few weeks learning parkour courses, practicing ungodly amounts of PvP, and watching VODs from old MCCs to learn strategies. Hell, the week before the event, I got access to the Ace Race training map, which might not mean much to you, but oh my god, it became my addiction. Honestly, the entire MCC training, the build-up, and the event was all that I thought about for almost an entire month. And hands down, it was one of the coolest experiences and most fun I have ever had in Minecraft. And then it was over. And here I was, back in my hardcore world, alone, and just sort of lost. What I'm trying to say here is that this whole time when I thought I was getting burnt out or tired of hardcore Minecraft, that's not really true. The reality was that I just wasn't fully in it. I wasn't fully immersed. And I realized that immersion is like the single most important thing for me to keep coming back and having fun playing this game. Anyways, yeah, that was a lot of emotions. Oh my god, look at this cute little house that I built for my bees. I spent the afternoon of day 83 filling in the supporting walls and other details to the new house that I had built in the wheat field before setting off to the cherry grove that evening to search for bee nests to start filling up my new sanctuary. Now, I have no idea if I got lucky or if these are just way more common here, but I found 4 bee nests basically right in this immediate area. And it's a good thing I did, because that night, like a true Nimrod, I managed to successfully piss off my entire new population of bees by harvesting their nests without a campfire below. The next day was a rainy mess, but you're out of your mind if you think that was going to stop me from finishing this house. Day 85 is up there with my favorite days of this playthrough. You see, while I was making babies with Smelly and Nelly, that sounded so weird, I found myself unsure of what to name their offspring. So I asked you guys for some suggestions. And of the 265 submissions at the time of this commentary, I'm happy to welcome Gooberschmack and Finkelnary to the family. I also totally named Bruce Gooberschmack for a second, but hey, that's alright. Luckily for me, a few of my bees were still alive after the incident, so I was able to breed them now. I wanted to go through and take some inspiration from the pathways we created in the carrot field and expand them into the wheat and beetroot fields as well, especially now that we had some buildings constructed. That night, I killed Bruce. Look, I have my reasons, okay? And I guess killed isn't really the correct term. It's more so that I lured a zombie in and had him turn to a zombie villager. You see, we are going to be attempting a raid very soon, and I can't risk my boy Bruce actually dying, so this is the next best option. At this point, there was just one more patch of land on the outskirts to be filled with something, and I knew just what to put there. I derped around the next morning, adding a few more scarecrows to the wheat field since I forgot to do that earlier. I also realized at this point there was still a wheat field inside of the house itself. So after removing that and filling in a more socially acceptable floor, I installed this small archway and a few furnaces. Look at me doing interiors, aren't you guys so proud? Although the base was looking pretty good at this point, I found it severely lacking contrast in the brown department. So I spent the entirety of the next day stripping each and every oak log in the wall, which honestly did a great job. The buildings stand out a lot more now. Remember those terrace farms I built earlier in the video? Yeah, me either. Because I finally remembered that I now plan to fill those in with more torch flowers and pitcher pods. I'm honestly just glad that I remembered here on day 88 as opposed to just completely forgetting like I normally would. The rest of that day was honestly pretty boring. I just chopped wood and built up the outside wall a bit taller. That's okay though, because it was finally time to get working on the part of the base that I was most excited for. In fact, earlier when I said that I wanted to design this base such that it would be really hard for me to die, I meant a little bit more than just building up a derpy wall on the outside. Now, if you recall a bit earlier, you know that I've moved all of my villagers to the center of this hole, and the plan is to turn this area into a makeshift raid farm with a trap for all of the pillagers and other raid mobs. And that plan started right here with this massive trench I was digging around the outside. While doing this, I made sure to slope the terrain down on each side to a couple of low points. That way I could go back through and flood the area with water, which would serve as a pretty easy way to funnel anything that falls into it. I'll be honest, it's not my brightest idea, but I'm pretty confident I can make this work. From there, I went through slabbing off the inner ring to prevent spawns, and adding in trapdoors just like I used in the creeper farm earlier. I easily could have just left this alone right here. But the idea of having this massive trench in the middle of the base be completely undecorated was just bothering me. So I started things off at the bottom, going through replacing the stone with cobbled deep slate to serve as a darker block. Of course though, I was yet again out of it, so I had to spend a while down in the mines collecting some. I also grabbed some tuff while I was down there before going through with a couple layers of that just a bit further up. And lastly, to complete the gradient, I added in some cobblestone and some mossy cobblestone near the very top. At the risk of sounding like a complete hypocrite right now, I decided to leave the center completely unfinished, since I have more ideas for what to build here that extend way beyond these 100 days, unfortunately. On day 93, I handled this eager test subject inside of the trench before setting off to the nether to grab myself some soul sand. I then used that soul sand to make soul campfires, which would serve as the killing mechanism along with hoppers and chests to collect the output. I then spent the rest of that evening adding in these floating lava blocks, which I hoped would handle any ravagers that fall into this thing. And just like that, I think I just made a raid farm. Sort of. Kind of. I spent the next day going through spawn-proofing the inside of all of my buildings with buttons, like a fool, because I failed to realize that raid mobs can only spawn under skylight, as well as adding in some ladders down to my collection chests. The only thing left to do now was improve my gear a bit. If there's one thing I know about myself, it's that the farms I design on my own usually don't work very well. So I wanted an infinity bow just in case I needed some extra help during the upcoming raid. So I spent the rest of day 94 and unfortunately most of day 95 at the creeper farm re-rolling enchantment after enchantment after enchantment until eventually infinity came up. On day 96, I did one final preparation and built myself a safe platform above the center of the village out of glass, which would not only hopefully protect me from danger, but also allow me to see what the heck is going on.
All right, well, I think it's time. I'm not really excited about this, but I do want a totem, so we kind of have to do it. I think the water stream's going to be a good idea. It's really stupid, that's for sure, but it might work, hopefully.
And so, on day 97, I paid a visit to our pillager captain friend we captured way back at the beginning of the playthrough, and before I knew it, the raid was starting.
Okay, it's happening. All right, let me get up to my spot, and they spawned outside. Are you actually kidding me? All right, they're falling into our trap, guys. Hang on. It's not the most efficient thing I've ever done, but it seems to be working. Ooh, they're on top this time. Okay, interesting strategy.
Things were going great until a ravager showed up.
Oh, my crop fields! No, dude!
Get in there. Each wave of the raid spawns more and more mobs, and my trap was honestly working pretty good as long as the raiders actually got in the base, which wasn't saying much because they pretty much exclusively spawned outside. I did manage to see an evoker fall in it though, which was a huge victory. I also had this happen. Oh my god, are they falling on my iron golem pit? Are they all falling on my iron golem pit? What is happening? Oh my god, they just all fell in the hole. Look, I'm glad it worked out, but I am a bit salty I spent so long digging out this trench just for my iron farm to completely steal the show. And before long, the raid was complete. Well, kind of.
It's gotta be in here. It had to have like fallen in the cave. I have no idea what to say though,
I have
dude.
no words because I can't find it anywhere. I'll be honest, I have no idea how this happened. I spent the entirety of day 98 and half of day 99 just searching around the entire base, even resorting to ringing a bell to try and find the last raid mob, and nothing. So I spent the rest of that day filling up holes in the base and replanting my crop fields where the Ravagers got through. I did take some time that evening to kill a couple witches in the event that they were the last mob, but no luck. And by the end of the night, the raid had unfortunately timed out, which really didn't bother me since I got my totem anyways. And finally, I spent the entirety of day 100 back in the mines paying homage to my younger self. You see, what I didn't tell you about that summer I spent grinding for diamonds as a kid was that pretty much as soon as I became rich, I would just get bored, delete the world, and then do the entire thing again. It turns out I wasn't really after the diamonds, I was just after a journey. And while I may never look at Minecraft with the pure excitement I did as a kid, honestly that's okay, because I know at the end of the day that Minecraft didn't change. I just did. By the end of this video, there will be a base here. A massive structure surrounded by a custom forest filled with pathways, bridges, and life. Not only did I build this entirely in hardcore survival, but I have no idea what I'm doing. So the goal of this video is to see how hard it is for a guy like me to build something like this without any planning whatsoever. Creative mode? Not allowed. Mods like Lightmatica? Illegal. Crying? Probably. I'm just a dude trying to build a cool base. All right, I think we're recording episode 23. In the last video, I built my little melon hardaway to the point where I feel like this area is honestly looking pretty dang good. However, I don't feel like it really fits into the greater area right now. It sort of feels like it's on the edge of two different biomes, and I don't like that. So let's change that by expanding the cherry forest. And after 10 minutes, we have expanded the cherry forest from here to about over here. Not very far. Not gonna lie, not very good. The main issue right now is that I don't really have a good way of getting saplings. But alas, I have a plan, and that plan will be executed at the creeper farm. I need a new hoe. Bad, 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 also bad, terrible, not good, awful, trash, bad, and good. Finally, this is what I need. Luckily for me, I managed to get the new hoe without any catastrophic explosions at the creeper farm. What's up, boys? Oh my god, that was really dumb. And just like that, even though my hoe might be weak, my spirits are strong. Why did I just say that? And here's a super cool time lapse of me planting in the forest. Okay, yeah, it's not even that cool. I think it's gonna be cool. I really hope it's gonna be cool at this point. You know, I like to act like I had some sort of a plan while doing this, but like literally I didn't. I just ran around and placed in saplings. We need to desperately address this raid farm that I built in the last episode. Yeah, it doesn't work very well. In fact, I'm pretty sure my iron farm over here accidentally got more totems than the raid farm did. Correction, it doesn't work at all. I don't know why I even act like it does. So as much as it pains me, we're going to fill this whole thing in. Now, I don't know why building a dirt platform on top of them will keep them safe, but it will because I said so. Not quite sure what his problem was. That was a wee bit aggressive. But anyways, I filled in over the top of the raid farm and then went through outlining a square that would serve as the rough shape of the build. I used a square because, let's be real, I'm building this by hand without a plan, so if it was a circle, my brain would probably implode. Drum roll, please. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. I think that's a good size. This might look small, but it's not because this is a grower, not a show. let's collect some materials before I say anything else dumb. Our first set of materials will require us to head down here into our handy dandy mine shaft. The first of which just being stone, just regular old stone. I feel like stone was kind of a no-brainer because it's really easy to get and it looks halfway decent.
Oh, Jesus Christ, we're already in a cave.
Oh, it's a big one too. And so I started mining. I took my little hands that don't match the rest of my skin, I grabbed my pickaxe, and there I was. I have no idea of the quantities. I have no idea what it's really gonna look like. I haven't done any testing. I mean, hey, the worst thing that happens is that it ends up sucking and I hate it and then nobody ever sees this video, right? So, you know what? It's a risk I'm willing to take. I also went a little bit crazy while I was down here and grabbed some things like andesite, some cobbled deep slate. I don't know why I'm acting like this is crazy. I really have no idea what I'm doing right now. Some diamonds. It's like my mom texted me and she was like, hey, on Friday, you're gonna make a really big dinner for a lot of people and you need to get a lot of ingredients, but I don't know what cuisine it's gonna be, so just have at it. And for my next trick, we will head all the way out to right here to grab some sand. I will need a bunch of this for concrete and other things. I also took the opportunity to collect some sandstone because I feel like it goes good with sand, believe it or not, before coming to the sad realization that I miss my shulker boxes. I kind of regret throwing everything away just because of that alone. I'll be honest, I probably didn't even need half as much as I was collecting at this point, but this terrain was just really bothering me and I had to fix it at this point. And boom, I don't know if that was worth it, but I'm gonna say yes it was because now it's round and it looks nice. Yeah, I'm definitely stalling at this point, but I'm just super nervous to begin building this thing. So I went off and tried to collect some gravel, but immediately realized that I don't have a silk touch shovel, so I had to go make one of those, and then finally got collecting some. And that's pretty much it for all of the materials in the overworld, that is. Oh my god, how you doing, buddy? Aren't you just the coolest little thing? I'm gonna kill you. It's fine. It's honestly pretty sad that my portal is still all the way down at the bottom of this cave. But anyways, I went to the nether and instantly got set on fire. Not quite sure what that's about, but that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. So I got collecting some of this nylium, which I think is gonna come in handy. I also grabbed some magma blocks, which are kind of dangerous and annoying to get, but they are gonna really come in handy. My brain is churning right now. I am full of ideas, you guys. I spent the rest of that night going through doing some final preparations and collecting some more materials. You know, things like breeding my sheep, collecting wool from my sheep, killing my sheep because I made too many sheep, as well as continuing my honeycomb collection here at the bee farm now that it's expanded. I must say, we are getting quite the bee army in this place, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. And just like that, I think that's all we can do for today. Honestly, I'm just a little bit nervous for... I'm not gonna lie, I definitely procrastinated building yesterday because I have no idea what I'm doing and I was hoping an idea would come to me overnight. An idea did not, in fact, come to me overnight, but that's okay. I'm just gonna start building and see where this takes me. I have literally no idea what I'm doing at this point. I am just placing in dirt and hoping it looks good. Honestly, yeah, that kind of looks like it could be a house. That's what I was going for. Here I am placing dirt sideways. Here I am placing dirt vertical. Here I am removing dirt sideways. Here I am removing dirt vertical. Oh, what's that? You're bored? Yeah, me too. Here's a time lapse. You see how like half the time you see me build something, I immediately get rid of it? Yeah, this was such a trial and error process. And before we continue, a quick word from our sponsor. It's me. Hi, I'm the sponsor. It's me. So I'm editing the video right now, and I realized I did a terrible job of explaining while I was building. Actually, I explained nothing while I was building. This is an archway. They are arch-shaped. 1, they look cool. And 2, these can make pretty good entrances into your build. If you see a big square like this, it's probably a wall of some sorts. But where it gets really exciting is if you see a square in the middle of. What could that be, Brock? It's a window. That's what it is. You'll also see these weird squiggly things coming out of the build sometimes. These are support beams. What are they supporting, you might ask? Another wall. And then lastly, this shape is the roof. I think that's pretty obvious. And the entire outline was basically some iteration of these. I would just take an archway or a wall or a roof and just stack them on top of each other over and over and over again. Well, the good news is that I think this looks pretty dang good so far. The bad news is that I am out of dirt. So I'm gonna go collect some. Dirt, 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 Dirt. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what came over me. Even though I didn't really want to at this point, I realized it would probably be best if I automated my honeycomb collection from the bee farm. So before I got back to work building, I set off to the nether to grab some quartz. 4.5 stacks should be enough. In fact, I know that'll be enough. That is completely overkill for what I'm doing. You see, up here at the top, I'm pretty limited for space to have the redstone capacities to build this farm. Plus, I like how this area looks and don't really want to change it all too much. So my best course of action is to dig a big hole down here. Oh no, I'm in my thing. Honestly, maybe we can turn this into the bee farm. The design should honestly be pretty simple, so I have some hopper minecarts feeding into this central chest over here. Now if we just go through with a layer of dispensers and some observers on top, a layer of blocks in the back right here, some redstone over here. Oh, I made the bed. Now we just need to add a layer of flowers so they can actually, pollinate the farm. And finally, a layer of glass so we can see what is going on. Whoa, I just fell in the hole. Oh my god, no. It's built wrong. Gosh dang it. Okay, we gotta try again. Bee farm 1, Brock 0. But I knew what I did wrong, so it really was a pretty simple fix. And in the meantime, I was able to go ahead and start decorating the room a little bit while I waited for nighttime again. Boom, bam, boom. We have a bee farm, and it looks pretty good. Well, that was a fun side mission, if you ask me. But oh my good golly gosh, would you look at the time? It's now... I really need to stop with these dramatic day transitions. It's not that serious. But on the third day, I kept on building. And you know what, guys? I built for 3 hours straight and didn't say a single word. Maybe I was locked in. Maybe my mic was muted. I will never know. But that's right, baby. Sides 3 and 4 were officially done. I've also started outlining these really cool staircases that go from the very bottom, working their way up all the way to the top. I want you to be able to navigate around it without having to exclusively use fireworks. Well, I've made you sit through 10 minutes of me placing in dirt, so I suppose it's time we start putting in actual blocks. And I feel like I should be more excited about this, but I'm just really nervous. Like, if I mess up now, it actually will have real consequences and could set me back. But it's okay. I'm gonna ignore that feeling and just start building. Look at me putting in real blocks to this build finally, even though I have no idea what I'm doing still at this point. Aren't you guys so proud of me? Ooh, yeah. I kind of like this. This is a pretty good start. Also exciting news, the first window was in, and honestly, it looked pretty good. I think now is a good time to start smelting up some smooth sandstone, which I just remembered that you have to actually smelt. You can't just use this stuff. I also just realized that my idea is going to require birch logs, which I have none of. Thankfully, there's some over here, though. So here's what I'm thinking. An entire wall of this smooth sandstone looks okay. However, if we go through like this, add in some regular sandstone, followed by some birch planks, and then finally some oak planks, we have this sort of transition that looks like it's a lot more realistic and kind of worn away. And bam! Suddenly it's looking way more interesting up close. And also from back here, it looks really good from a distance. So I want to go through here with some of this red nether wart, which I know is weird, but maybe trust me? Maybe. I don't exactly know. There's this weird point when you're making a Minecraft build where it's really gonna feel like it's not coming together. You're gonna place in some blocks, you're gonna look at this build, and you're gonna think, what in the heck am I possibly doing right now? This is awful. And I'm currently at that spot. I really can't imagine how this house is gonna look anything good, but I'm gonna trust the process. I'm gonna keep adding detail, and hopefully we can make this into something pretty. A wise man once said that details are like pizza. There's no such thing as a bad one. It's me. I'm the wise man. Turns out all this needed was some texturing, a window, and a fancy roof. I'm also using these weird roof gradients that I can't decide if I like or not, or which style I like, so I'm just gonna pick one and leave it for now. Oh my God, this looks good. What the heck, dude? I love that. Now that you know what I'm doing, here's a time lapse of me building the entire front side of the Wait, what's that? Oh, wait, really? Oh God, I'm getting reports that something bad's gonna happen here. I'm out of blocks. Like, I'm running out of blocks so fast. Not every block, but like a few of the really important ones. For instance, the red nether wart thing that I used for the roof. Yeah, don't have any more of that. Smooth sandstone? I completely forgot you have to smelt that. So yeah, I don't have much of that either. And I think it'd be really cool if we turn this house over here in the carrot field into a makeshift nether tree farm down here in the basement. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Dude, you're digging a hole to grow the trees in that you could just grow in the open air? Yes, I am. I bet you liked that montage, didn't you? Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, do you guys still like the montages? I still throw them in because they're so fun to make. Anyways, clearing out this area took like way longer than it should have. There were so many caves full of so many mobs, a lot of endermen that had just been vibing under my base for God knows how long. Also, I flew through this hole. I don't know why I'm showing you that, but I thought it was pretty cool. Firstly here, I want to go through and replace the floor mostly with something different. I guess like spruce wood is fine. It's pretty simple, but it should look nice. Now in the very center here, we'll go the nylium because this is where we're going to farm the trees. We're going to need a chest to actually store things. And then lastly, I want to build a water elevator. That way I have a good way of getting to the top that doesn't involve me flying through here because that will surely kill me eventually, right? I pretty much spent the next entire hour just grinding away at these nether trees, collecting as much of the nether wart blocks as I possibly could. I also took some time while I was down here to use the crimson wood as a simple decoration for this area because I won't use it for anything else. Okay, so right now the room looks like this. I mean, yeah, it's not very cool. And now it looks like this. I lied to you. You see, it actually looks like this. Now, did I get a little carried away? Maybe I did, but I just had so much of this nether wart block that I thought I would use it for the backdrop. I have storage in here. We have an area over here to get the mushrooms themselves. We are absolutely grinding, okay? Which is cool and all, but I still need a way to smelt all of my sandstone. So I figured the only option was to make a super smelter. Okay, it will start here and it will go this way. Oh, over this way. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so these feed. What are these? These feed into smeltable spot. And then on the backside, we need some more hoppers to distribute the fuel into the furnaces. Why are you doing this? Despite having no idea what I was doing, I somehow managed to make this thing work. Now all there's left to do is decorate this bad boy before heading off in search of a bunch of sandstone. I really got to find a desert, man. Ooh, through the gap, through the gap. Hey, come on. We got it. Oh, through this one. Let's go. Yes, I see one. Let's go, baby. We only had to travel 6,000 blocks. Correction. It was 10,000 blocks. Bam! Look at all this area we just got rid of. And the best part is you can't tell I did it because it's underground. We're gonna dip down in the water. We're gonna keep flying and back out. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I just want to go home. I have an announcement to make. I built the whole thing from the bottom up. You can see the whole thing is done. I'm just kidding. That was a really dumb bit. We are 15 minutes into this video, and I have only built up one of the 4 sides, so let's change that. And I pretty much just took what I learned from building up the first side and applied it here to the second side with just a little bit more flair. Dude, that is so sick. What? Oh my god. Hey, babe. Got a second? I don't know what the hell that is, but I think it's cool. Okay, so I've been building for the last like 6 hours, and I think we finally have the first 2 sides done, which is really cool because if we come over here and then slowly walk towards the base like we're approaching it from a distance, it looks like the base is fully done. But yeah, there's still a ton to do on the other 2 sides, so enjoy this dramatic montage of me finishing it. It's been 10 seconds, so yeah, we're due for a roadblock. I did manage to get a pretty decent chunk of the 3rd side built up, but as you can see, I'm here at the creeper farm because my wings keep breaking from having to fly up and down the build. But honestly, that was a pretty easy problem to fix. The bigger problem, however, is that I'm out of smooth sandstone. I've done this at least 20 times in my life, and every time I hate it. Okay, we made it. Did I do it? No, I did not do it. All right, we'll try it again. Bam! We did it! I broke the wrong one. God dang it. No. Aha! Hey, we're here. We made it. Okay, cool. I think Brock Math is spending over an hour linking up portals on the nether roof that you're probably only going to use like once in your entire life. That's okay. I never claimed to be smart. So I got to work collecting more sandstone. Also, before we get back to building, I just want to show you this clip. You'd think the leather armor would make me more careful, but what am I doing right here? I feel like this video has hardly even been about building at this point, but do you guys like all of these side missions? I don't know. I'm just trying to make the video feel real and show you that when doing these large projects, it pretty much never goes smoothly. In terms of the build itself, I've pretty much realized at this point that because the shape of this thing is so damn cool, I can get away with using a pretty simple block palette. And once I realized this, I was kind of able to just zoom through the build way faster than I had before. It's finally done. And when I say done, I mean officially the blocks are in place on the outside. There's still so much texturing to do, but it's 11 p.m. and I've been playing Minecraft for 14 hours today, so I have no more brain function. We're gonna call it for the night. Although I saw this thing where like if you look away like this and then you just do like a quick little turn, it textures itself. Now is where the detail comes in. And I wanted to turn my attention now to this staircase idea that I had been working on earlier. Yeah, it just stops right here in the middle of the build. So I continued building it, this time wrapping it around the outside of the build as I went up. I didn't leave myself any more room to build it on the inside, and also it just looks cool like this. And upon timing myself, it takes a whopping 57 seconds to make it from the bottom to the top. Look, man, no one ever said this base had to be efficient. It just needs to be fun and look cool. Now, before we get too carried away on the interior, we need to address something. This center bottom area, yeah, it's not good. It's not gonna work. There we go, that should do. Oh, also, I don't think I mentioned it, but we have a chimney now. And it looks pretty cool, I gotta admit. This like weird texturing I have going on, big fan, big fan. A few days ago, I was showing this base to my girlfriend, and she said that her favorite detail were these trees over here, which is really funny because these aren't even part of the base. It's just literally where I chop my spruce trees from. But it did get me thinking, what if we removed this dedicated area for spruce trees and instead just grow some in ourselves? And honestly, I think it looks pretty good. It kind of fits in the vibe. I wanted to scatter in a bunch of these tall spruce trees to break up the monotony of the cherry forest. So after definitely not committing mass deforestation to get saplings, I got to work planting. Unfortunately, I still don't have a very good bone meal source over in these parts, so this was a very expensive time lapse. Also, I kept having these really weird short trees grow in, but I'm gonna leave them because I'm lazy and we love our short kings around here. At this point, the forest was looking good, but still lacking a little bit of life. So I paid a visit to our sniffer farm, which is way too full, by the way, and grabbed myself some sniffer eggs. Now, it's still gonna be a little while before these little squirts actually hatch and grow up and start contributing to society, so I figured it was time to go in with a pathway connecting up the main base to the forest. And it feels kind of weird having this pathway just stop right here, so let's not do that, and instead, we'll kind of bring this along to the only other structure I've built out in these parts. Yeah, that's right, baby. We're building a pathway to the creeper farm. Now, I can already hear you saying, but Brock, you're not even gonna use it. Why are you building a pathway? And you know what? You're right. I'm not gonna use this. Except I lied. Look at me right now using it in this time lapse. Oh, I bet you're so embarrassed, aren't you? To really tie the area together, I built up this bridge that connects the two pathways, and also went through expanding the pathways over to my iron farm, which I forgot about. And finally, after another forest expansion, the base is finally done, except for the interior. Please give me ideas. Three months ago, I experienced my Minecraft YouTuber midlife crisis. So I flew out 100,000 blocks from spawn, threw everything away, and traded in my netherite armor for leather armor with Curse of Binding. I ended up settling down in this village, where I've spent the last 400 in-game days planting fields, making friends, and even building whatever the heck this thing is. But today, we take on the biggest challenge yet, finishing the rest of this base. Welcome to Building Interiors because they scare me. After the last video, we were pretty much just left with one big hollow tube inside of this base, so I took the liberty in between episodes to install these makeshift floors out of dirt. All this really does is break things up a bit so I can actually work on this one room at a time, starting right here in the pet house where I plan to build a portal room. Right now, my portal is all the way down in this cave, and it's currently a 1 minute and 26 second journey just to get to the nether, and that's not gonna cut it. Now, firstly, I'm going to need obsidian for making the portal. I'm also going to need some blocks here from the nether. Hopefully I can find them all by just digging in a straight line up here. I would much prefer that than having to actually go down there and do something. Ah, yes, there we go. I need some basalt, which is good. There's a bunch right here. Oh, and look at that. We found some blackstone. Let's go, baby. This is actually going so smoothly. Oh, it's so dangerous, though. Okay. I need to be careful. It's kind of weird to think that literally inside of this hardcore world, I have the farms for blackstone and basalt and a lot of these materials that I'm grinding by hand right now. I don't know, man. I'm kind of starting to miss my old base. So let me know. Should I go back there soon? What do you think? Now, I also need to get some glowstone while I'm in here, and I think that should be all we need from this godforsaken place. The first thing I want to tackle is this floor, because obviously I can't leave it as dirt. That would be ridiculous. I'm thinking something more like spruce planks will be good. Now, the room might look decently sized right now, but I promise it's going to be pretty small because I don't want to have these weird, ugly outside walls on the inside, so I have to make things like double thick. So whereas normally I would like to put blocks here, here, and here, I have to actually put them here, here, and here. I think using different colored terracotta blocks are really going to come in handy in building these interiors, but since I don't have access to a mesa out here, it does mean that I have to go scrambling for clay in the rivers. While that terracotta smelts, I'll head back to the river and behead some local squids. Come here, boys. Now I'm thinking along these sidewalls here, we can go through and do some kind of a gradient. I think it'll work good. Boop, 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 beep, 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 beep. With the walls in place, I first went through adding in a backdrop and then outlined the portal in obsidian. Before continuing the build, I set off to the nearby jungle to grab some cocoa beans, as well as spent some time back at the nether tree farm grinding the crimson wood and the nether wart blocks. Also, once again, I flew through this hole and it was really cool. I also think that adding in a little pattern to the floor could really spice things up in here. Now, I have this idea, bear with me. Dude, this looks so sick. I love it. And now for the most important part, we have to make sure this portal actually works. First things first, we'll go ahead and note these coordinates. We will light this portal, divide those puppies by 8 to get the nether coordinates, and then find the new coordinates here in the nether. And now we pray. And just like that, the first room is complete. Next up is the bedroom, which is right down here. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a Disney princess, but in a bad way. Like I'm just locked away in this castle, so I need to blow down one of these walls. Maybe go in here with like some sort of a window. I guess this is probably the better way to add some life to this area. It's really important to me that all of these interior rooms connect together in a cool way. So before anything, I began installing a staircase. I realized at this point that I have deprived myself far too long of my favorite block in the game, which is stripped dark oak wood. So I went out on a journey to go find some saplings. I might have flown 8,000 blocks in one direction just to end up finding the forest about 100 blocks from my base, but you win some, you lose some. I decided to use a combination of the stripped dark oak and the stripped spruce for the main walls of my bedroom. There's something about it that is just very rustic and cozy. Okay, so we have our staircase, we have the walls. We'll go ahead and strip all of these. Now for the ceiling, I want to keep things pretty simple. We'll go through here with some more wooden beams for support, with some spruce slabs here in between, a couple lanterns here and there so I can actually see what's going on, and then some of these azalea leaves just so it's like a little bit overgrown, but not too much. I'm looking for like tastefully overgrown. And after building myself a bed, oh wow, that's not gonna work. That is way too brown. You literally like can't even tell there's a bed there almost. By the time I'm done here, I'll be lucky if there's any clay left in these rivers, but that's okay. It's going to a pretty good cause if you ask me, because now I'm bringing in some red terracotta to the bedroom. Much like in real life, my Minecraft character likes to imagine they actually own and read books, so I went through and added in a bunch of bookshelves to the bedroom. This bedroom took me 2 hours to make. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I do quite like it though. I mean, all the details, so good, dude. Now next up in here, I want to be the storage room. I'm literally not going to show you any of this because honestly, that's very boring, but yeah, here it is. It's just a bunch of chests to store all my stuff. What I am excited for, however, is this area, which is going to be a museum. Now, I'm not much of a museum guy. I've been to a few of them in my time, so I kind of have somewhat of an idea what I want this to look like. Also, I've been doing some improvements here. I added more of this floor to the bedroom, and also, look at this, ignore the flesh, and look at this, we have a drop down into the storage room. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but still, it's pretty cool. Just like when I built up the outside, I'm building up all of the inside without any planning. This makes the whole process just more fun and organic, but does mean that I'm regularly running out of materials because I have no idea the amounts of what I need. After building up the wall patterns, installing windows, and putting in a roof, the museum was pretty much done except for the part where it actually stores items. I also have this spiral staircase that leads up to an attic, I guess. I'm not sure what's going to go up here, so if you have any ideas, let me know. Now, as far as the design of like the actual exhibits, they're pretty simple. If you've ever played Stardew Valley, you'll probably recognize these. If you're not sure what I mean by this, basically I want the museum to be something that you can easily view from ground level. So after getting the floor in place, I went through installing the exhibits out of glass. Now there's 35 unique spots to store items in the museum. If only there was a way that I could perhaps go on an adventure and find 35 unique items perhaps. Just kidding, there is. It has been 166 days since trail ruins were added into Minecraft, and I have yet to explore one, which is honestly just embarrassing. But that changes today because I'm gonna go find one. Now I have no idea really where they are, but I think they can appear in jungles, so we're gonna start there. I really don't know what I was doing. I couldn't have picked a worse biome to go looking for this thing. It's so hard to see the surface in these jungles. They're so dense, man. Ooh, that's a pretty parrot. You know where anything suspicious might be? You seen anything happen around these parts? I wasn't having too much luck in the jungle, so I continued my searching efforts across a couple more biomes until finally, what is this? This is something. What is this? Where is the gravel that is suspicious? Oh my god, did we already get something good? Oh my god, we already got the new music disc. What the heck? I'll be honest, one of the reasons why I waited so long to loot a trail ruin is that I just don't really care about the loot inside. But I thought that with this museum, it would be a perfect opportunity to use those items and store them as if they actually have some value. Is this it? I think I made it to the end, you guys. I exposed this whole ancient civilization for everything it's worth. I don't know why I made that sound ominous. I'm sure there are great people who lived here once. Okay, Brock, you got the items. Now, how are you going to actually put them in the museum? So we could just go ahead and use like item frames like this, but come on, that's boring. I'm not going to do that. I have a much better idea. Instead, we can do this. Well, not exactly. So I had this armor stand data pack that allows you to do pretty cool things. For instance, we can give the stand arms, which might not seem like very much. However, that means it can hold items. Now, if we just do this and then nudge the position down a little bit. Huzzah! Look at this. It's like enclosed in the glass case. It's so cool. Also, if this bothers you, I don't really care. And it's done. Look at this. Next up is the map room. Now, I think I have a design for this in mind, and it's pretty simple. It's basically a square, and this room is not a square. It is a shape that cannot be named, so let's fix that. Can somebody tell me why I keep using deep slate as a block to outline a build? It just makes no sense. I want to go back in time, I want to grab my melon head, and I want to squeeze the juice out of it. In terms of the map room design, I think we can all agree one of the main symbols we think of for a map room is a compass. So after filling in a backdrop out of white wool, I tried my hand at making one. As you can see, it did not go well. Low-key, I feel like it kind of works. At this point, it was getting pretty late, but I wanted to get a design in place before bed, so I returned back to my new favorite pattern for a couple of the walls. I had a ton of space to work with in the back, so I went through with some levers to not only power the redstone lamps, but also provide some easy lighting. I wanted to have a separate entrance hallway from the actual map room, so next up, I began adding in this archway with some stripped spruce, brown glazed terracotta, and birch trap doors, which I know is a weird combo, but I think it kind of works. I want the maps to be empty on the floor. So after having a heck of a time outlining the circle in the center, I installed a simple floor using dark oak planks. I'll be honest, I wasn't really sure what to use for the ceiling, so I ended up just making it out of light blue concrete, which it's kind of like a blue sky, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Next up, I want to finish this entrance room, starting with the floor, the walls, and finally the ceiling. We'll also install some cartography tables because maps, a trim around the bottom, and lanterns because light. As mentioned, I want there to be multiple different ways to walk between rooms inside of this base. So I'm thinking some sort of a spiral staircase right here that connects up to the outer staircase would be really cool. Now, I also want a way to connect the map room itself to the upper floors, but I'm having a hard time figuring out where to put the entrance. But I think I finally got it figured out. So we have this outside balcony thing, and if we dig down right here, we end up in this empty room. And now we just simply install a way up and down, connect that puppy up with a door, and boom, the map room is done. Except for the maps. 45 maps.
Okay, I lied. 44 maps.
And there we go. The map room is complete. Look at how small we are. Working our way down the base, we now have to tackle this room. And I think I have the perfect thing to go in here. Doesn't this just like scream throne room to you? It does to me, so we're gonna build one here. Okay, we'll start with this backdrop. Now there is a window behind here, but I've decided we are not gonna use that window. It is a fake window. Now this wall, while it does look really good from the outside, doesn't look very good on the inside. So we have to do this thing where you go out like this and leave this gap in between. It's not really ideal because it makes the room feel so small, but that's all I can really do right now. And after doing that, we are left with this much room on either side of the throne room. Obviously, it's going to be symmetrical, so I'll do the same thing on this side. And we're left with this. Now, it's not big, but it's pretty cozy, and I think this is a perfect throne, okay? I would happily sit on this throne. Speaking of throne, let's build that now. Oh yeah, dude, that is so sick. I love that. Now for the floor, we'll keep it very simple with some good old-fashioned dark oak planks. I'm using these because I couldn't think of anything else. And now it's time to decorate. Now, it also happens to be the case that this room connects directly up to this pathway, which right now just goes up to the rest of the base, but I think an archway would be perfect right here. And I figured it would make sense to occupy the throne room with the three things that control my life more than anything. And no, I am not talking about salmon. I am talking about my cats. So I just have to go find 3 of them. I need to have an orange one and 2 gray ones. Village number 1, let's see what we have here. Nothing. There's nothing here. Village number 2, I see a cat. Oh my god, it's the right one too. Come here, buddy. Come here. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I couldn't possibly trust you any less to not commit self-harm, so we're going to bring you back in the throne room while I search for the others. Village number 3, village number 4, village number 5. You are my leader. There we go. And just one more. The elusive orange cat. They're so hard to find, and they lack brain cells severely. Village number 6, village number 7. Oh my god, there's a mangrove swamp right here. I've been looking for one of these for so long, dude. This is way cooler than the last cat. I'm just kidding. It's not that cool. No, I think this is the 8th village that I came across. I'm hoping this is the one. Oh my god, there's an orange cat right in front of me. I'm so freaking hyped, dude. It's like 4,000 blocks home, but I don't even care. I got my orange cat with me. What's up, buddy? We have Frank, we have Jethro, and last but not least, we have Holden, the little orange squirt that controls my life. He's also my editor, so be nice to him. Next up on the list of rooms to add that don't have any function but look cool, we're gonna build a cafe right in here. I was reading through the comments last episode, and a lot of you suggested this, and I feel like right here with this big open door, we could just have a perfect fly-in entrance. Firstly here, I want to get some sort of a doorway installed. Now we can install some sort of a pillar, get rid of this dirt, and go in with some green terracotta. I think that's a good block for interiors. Now, because I designed this building with literally zero planning, I'm left with some weird shapes. So naturally, I'm left with this raised section that I'm going to turn into additional seating. you know the drill. We got our dark oak pillar action. We got our green concrete. I did have to go out to the desert to get some more cactus, so that's kind of cool, I guess. I also thought it would be fun to add an upper level of seating to this cafe. I don't know why, but I love when restaurants have this. I always want to sit there. Now we just need to add in a ceiling, some fences so people can't fall off the balcony, some trapdoors to cover up this stone, and finally some places to sit. But what's a cafe without some place to whip up a venti pumpkin spice latte? Not a sponsor. So over here in the back, I want to get working on a kitchen. Now, I only installed one brewing stand at the kitchen here. A, because that's all I had, but B, because there's only gonna be one employee. All right, Bruce, come this way, bro. I know you've been looking for some work lately. It's been slow here at the museum. Don't you worry. Up the stairs, around the corner, into here, and into here. Now, Bruce, don't you hurt me. Just stay there. The Fly-In Cafe. Oh yeah, this is so cool, dude. I actually love the details in here. And one of the last things that I want to build for like the main part of this interior is a proper tree farm. Now, it's not going to be anything automatic. It's just going to be like very basic because I'm not very smart. But I also think that this room could just be the perfect size to grow in tall spruce trees. That's what I'm hoping, at least. Not everything you build in Minecraft has to be rocket science. For instance, this is literally just a big box inside that I can use to chop trees. Because that means that we are just left with this in the interior. Or are we now? Because all the way down here, I have a bunch of villagers, hi guys, and this big hole that I dug a long time ago that I have still done nothing with. Now, I've been thinking a lot about what to put down here, and ironically, you guys were thinking the same thing. But before I do that, I think it's time we finally get something to help out with all of this digging. I don't really know what to say right now. This is the first time in over like 4 months that I'm heading off to an old build site, which is kind of crazy, dude. It's been so long since I've been anywhere old in this world. I also completely forgot where my wither skeleton farm is, so I had to go back and watch the video from over a year ago to learn where the heck the coordinates are. I'm a pro, I swear. We already have 1 skull. Make that 2. And 3. Oh my god, that was so quick, dude. Okay, there's 12 skulls. Just in case I want to make a little bit more than 1 beacon, I can make 4 of them now, I think. I'll be honest, I'm really scared. I don't like doing this, but I'm just going to send it and hope that this works. Here we go. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Oh, that was really easy. So the end goal is to turn this underground area into a massive enchanted library. I don't know what that means, admittedly. I just know that it's going to be big, it's going to be cool, and it's probably going to take way longer than I think it will. And in order to maintain my sanity, I'm going to try my best to break this up into 3 unique segments. The first of which is to dig an extremely large hole. Come on in, guys. The water's fine. You'll like it in here. Yes, I am moving my villagers from this box to this box. And the entire base is going to be centered around a 9x9 hole at the very bottom here. So you walk in, you jump, you fall, you fly, and then boom, big base. But I need to do some more digging first before it's actually a big base. You know what I mean. The plan is to make the roof some sort of an asymmetrical dome, which might sound complicated. That's because it is. And to try and preserve at least some of my sanity along the way here, I'm going to outline it with dirt just so I can see what it looks like. I basically had to pull up 2 separate circle generators, and then for the one half, use the left circle, and then for the other half, use the right circle. And I've been working for an hour. We are this far along with shaping the roof. It looks good, but bad news is that my brain is mush. I'm going to bed. So it's currently 11 a.m. the next day, which I know doesn't really mean much to you, but I've been working on this since 7 a.m. And the crazy thing is you really can't even tell that I've done all that much because it wraps all the way around and then it kind of is getting cut off by the terrain. So before I even know if the size is good, I have to go through now and clear out all of this inside. So yeah, this is going to take a while. Also, before everyone's like, Brock, why aren't you collecting all the stone? Listen, I have mined 407,000 stone in this world. I think I'm okay. Thank you. And the best part is that once our pickaxe gets low, we just come up here to the villagers, give these guys some iron, and then bam, it's fixed up just like that. Now, before I keep digging out this massive area, which will take a very long time, I think it'd be really cool if we can actually fill in the ceiling, because I don't want it to look like crap for the whole time that I'm building this. The materials that I'm going to need are weird. You've been warned. Now, you're going to have to just trust me when I say it's going to look good. Some of these are easy to get, and others are not so easy, like this first one. Deep slate redstone ore. Why do I do this to myself? A zombie spawner. I wish I cared about you. Goodbye. I swear when I don't need it, redstone is like everywhere in these caves, but I had to search pretty far and wide just to get enough of what I needed. I also set up a beacon in the nether to get more basalt, blackstone, and netherrack, some more deep slate down in the mines, half of which I chiseled, and the other half turned to bricks, then tossed in the super smelter. Next up came the acacia wood. Everybody say thank you, new tree farm. Followed by a bunch of mangrove wood that won't fit in the new tree farm. Also, if I sound different, that's because it's 6 a.m. and I have to go make a turkey in 3 hours. So I'm imagining a gradient that starts from like the center, this little middle part, and then works its way out and down along the ceiling. That might not make much sense to you, but I hope it will soon. So the first thing we'll do is just start at this top layer, and we're gonna go through and make all of this into skulk, which not only sounds menacing when you place it, but also looks pretty cool from down here. Next up is the layer of blackstone. Next up are these polished blackstone bricks, which I realize I can't reach the end, so this scaffolding's already got to go down. But I think it'd be really cool if we go through here and add a layer of shroom lights. And then go through with a layer of these mangrove trapdoors. I've never actually used these before, but they have this kind of cool texture to them. And honestly, I think they're gonna work pretty good over here. Yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty cool. I like it. Okay, so we started at blue, we've gone to the black, and now we're gonna start working in the gray, starting with this chiseled deep slate, which is a weird block, I know, but I think it'll work. Followed by the cracked deep slate bricks. After that, we go in with this polished basalt, which honestly I never get to use, but it's one of my favorite blocks in the game. Here's where the acacia logs come in, another block that I don't think I've ever used in Minecraft. So now I want to go ahead and bring some red tones into this, but going from red to gray, or gray to red, is a pretty extreme transition, but there's one block that makes it a lot simpler. See this stuff? Yeah, deep slate redstone ore. It's perfect because it is not only gray, it is also red, so it acts as the perfect buffer block. And while this does not look very good on its own, it does mean that we can start going through with our mangrove wood. Now we're going to go through with some netherrack, and then finally we will finish things off with this red nether wart block. Now I know it's a lot, it's very red as you get to the edges here, but you got to remember, we're going to only be looking at this from like way down below. This is the ceiling, you guys. Now before I get too carried away digging away the terrain and building up the rest of the library, I want to address this room because right now you walk in and then you're just here. And I feel like that's not really the vibe that I'm going for. Boom, boom, and it opens this way and it opens this way. Okay, the door is working. Now to make it look good. There we go. It's not the craziest thing I've ever built, but honestly, like, it gets the job done, and it doesn't look too bad. So now I want to go ahead and start digging out the floor, maybe like 10 or 20 or 30, maybe even 40 or 50 levels. In fact, while I'm doing this, let's play a game called How Many Times Does Brock's Pickaxe Almost Break? And there is one. Okay, well, we are, how many? We are 3 layers down. All right, there's the second pickaxe almost broken. Not gonna lie, I'm listening to Spotify, and I almost missed that one. All right, there's the third pickaxe, and we are like 10 levels down or so. There's the fourth pickaxe. There's the fifth pickaxe. There's the sixth pickaxe. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. It took me 4 hours just to dig this hole. So yeah, we're gonna split this one up into multiple parts. Also, it's Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna can go eat a bunch of turkey and then fall asleep. Goodbye. This is not a regular library. On the surface, it might just look like a big room full of books, which, you know, it kind of is, but it's so much more. Complete with entire villages, complex farms, whatever the heck this thing is, even real books written by you guys. It's clear that there is more to this than meets the eye. In this video, I create a living and breathing entity, highlighting not just the story of this Minecraft world, but that of multiple worlds, spanning over more than a decade. It's a return to Minecraft's oldest memories, a journey of over 100,000 blocks, and a story of one man trying to figure out what the heck he is doing. It's also my basement, so like, yeah, I need something to go down here. You see, for the last 5 months, I have exiled myself on the outskirts of this Minecraft world. And I told myself that I cannot return home until I finish this base. Now, I've already built this massive thing. I really could have stopped here. Probably should have, to be honest. But alas, my basement looks like this. Yeah, I've got some work to do. And just like that, the area is mostly prepped. Except for this box, which currently houses all of my villagers. So this'll be fun. Thank you guys for your service, but you are no longer of use to me. I'm kidding, don't worry. I built a landing pad, they're fine. And considering that these poor guys have spent their entire life cooped up inside of boxes, I think it's time that we change that. I'm just kidding, yeah, they're in a box again. You have my word, though, that by the end of the video, they will have a proper home. Maybe. Now, the last thing to do is move this beacon, and it looks like the center is right here. There we go. And now I just need to rebuild it a little bit lower. Man, look at how much space there is down here. Oh, I just did a flip. That was cool. And before we can actually begin building, we need to first gather some materials, starting in the nether. Okay, yep, that is a ghast. Now, ironically, in the 5 months that I've been out here, I have yet to find a single warped forest biome, which is exactly why I need to find a warped forest biome. So this should be fun. There we go. That didn't take too long, actually. And on the way home, I will grab some bone blocks because honestly, I can always use the bone meal. You see, the main items that I'm after right now are the warped hyphae and the planks. And to get those easily, I can actually just come over here to the tree farm I built a few episodes ago, replace the crimson nylium with warped nylium, bone meal the fungus, and then start collecting. Now I'll just need some blackstone, some basalt, and a bit of moss before heading back to the nether for some soul soil, which will be turned into soul torches and then soul lanterns. And now we can start building. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. But what I do know is that I want the build to have a central staircase leading to the upper levels. So I guess we'll start with the outside pieces like so, adding in some stairs in between, making sure to leave this middle section open. And then I will just kind of continue layer by layer until we connect these into one staircase at the top. And there we go. It's actually looking pretty good. Now, eventually it's going to continue its way up along each side. But before I do that, I want to extend a platform here going into this wall. Now, I'm already starting to realize that this build is going to be rather complex. So to stay on track, I'm going to break this up into a series of unique phases, starting with phase 1, which I'm calling automation. You see, I want this library to serve as more than purely an aesthetic art piece, and to do that, I'll need some things working in the background, which is exactly why I'm digging out this massive room going into the side of this wall. I also never say no to building a secret layer. It's arguably my favorite thing to do in this entire game. Now, the most important thing any secret layer needs is a cool entrance, which is why I'm currently fixing my bee farm to actually give me honey blocks. Okay, that should do the trick, I think. Maybe. I'll also need 30 slime blocks, and since I only have 3 right now, I'm really hoping this cave will have some for me to kill. Alright, no luck here, which means I have to resort to plan B. And now we just wait for nighttime. I have to admit, it's not the safest thing I've ever done, but I gotta say, this is a pretty good way of getting quick slime balls. And after about 10 minutes, I have all the slime I'm going to need. And after crafting some more redstone components and gathering a bit of obsidian, the good news is that all I need now are the honey blocks. The bad news is that the bee farm isn't producing any honey blocks. So yeah, I guess this is what happens when I do things on my own. Okay, so if we just remove these, that will allow us to access the slope of the secant line.
And using that derivative, we can determine the rate of change of honey from these silly little
Which
bees.
just so happens to be directly proportional to the rate of change at which the universe is rapidly expanding. And then we just factor in the bees' relative velocity, which happens to be very close to the speed of light. Meaning they're aging much slower than you or I, and by the time one day passes in beeland, all of us will be nothing more than piles of dust and ashes.
All right. Yeah, I think the bee farm works now. So yeah, it's safe to say that I won't be using my own design for this redstone door. Instead, I'll be building one from our Lord and Savior, Mumbo. You know, just to ensure I don't make any more mistakes. Okay, yep. I already messed it up, so I gotta tear the whole thing down and try again. Okay, yep, that's not right either. Alrighty, third time's the charm. Let's wire this up, and yes, it actually works. Oh my god. That was mildly annoying, but now it's just a matter of filling in the sidewalls. Yep, I broke it again. Oh, this has been a nightmare, dude. Okay, so this time I'll use glazed terracotta, since slime and honey don't stick to it as far as I know. Ah, yes, it still doesn't work. So the door finally opens and closes without any real hiccups, which means now it's time to install the pressure plate system to trigger it, as well as a cool archway. Boom, science. As you all know, the fundamental rule of all secret layers is that they must look cool. So before I get working on anything functional, I want to get a good aesthetic built in here. Now, I'll be honest, I'm completely winging this, but I think first it would look really cool if we install an alternating pattern with spruce and dark oak wood before going through and stripping all of them. Oh yeah, that looks so nice. And after installing the pressure plates on the other side and praying that they work, God, dude, oh my goodness, I'll go through and build a nice little archway on the inside as well. Now for the ceiling, I'll use some dark oak slabs, some polished blackstone, and finally some more black stained terracotta for a bit of color. It's definitely giving more evil layer than secret layer, so you know what? Evil layer it is. I'm cool with that, honestly. Now over here along this back wall, I want to get started with the first farm, which is going to be a very simple villager breeder. And just to be safe, I'm going to take 2 of my current villagers, use them to make 2 new babies, and then use those children to power the farm. That does not sound good the more you listen to it. Anyways, while I build up the breeder, which was designed by Logical Geek Boy, by the way, let me take some time to explain why I need this in the first place. You see, 5 months ago, when I made the journey out here, the first thing I did was absolutely decimate this village for all of its resources, leaving the villagers cooped up inside of this box. And even though I've since vowed to give them a proper home one day, they just keep getting moved from one box to another box. I think this is the 4th box, or is it the 5th? I'm not really sure. And that's where this breeder comes in. You see, the plan is not only to give these guys a proper home, but to create an entire civilization, an empire, a life of freedom, all within the walls of this underground library. Except for you two. Yeah, you guys gotta stay here and give me babies. Sorry. Yes, a baby. Go on, my friend. You are the future. Okay, so I have a way to get tons of villagers, but now I need a way to get a bunch of bookshelves, because after all, this is a library, which is exactly why the next item on the list is a wheat farm. I can explain. You see, with enough wheat, I can breed inhumane amounts of cows, slaughter them for their leather, and use that leather to make bookshelves. But since I don't really want to continually harvest my beautiful wheat fields, and let's face it, I'm lazy, I'm instead going to make a fully automatic wheat farm down here. I'm out of slime again, and it still looks like this cave is not showing any promise, so I guess I have to head back out to the swamp. But this time, I will be smart about it. Whew, okay, I got 10 pieces. And I guess I will build a portal right here on this floating island, and there we go. Also, can I just take a moment to look at these 2 jungle biomes? They have got to be the smallest biomes that I have ever seen in Minecraft. What even is this? Now I just have to wait for nighttime. Now that all the materials are collected, it's time to prep the farm area. Now, the actual size of the wheat fields doesn't really matter, so the plan is to dig out a big room and then have 2 layers to increase efficiency. Also, my beacon doesn't reach over here, and instead of just moving it like a normal person, I am flying out here, getting haste 2, and then digging for 10 seconds until it runs out, and then I repeat the whole process. Why am I like this? Okay, that's the first layer done. Now onto layer number 2. There's really not much to say at this point. I'm basically just planting in giant wheat fields right now. I'm also starting to wonder, like, am I wasting my time on this? I mean, I've already spent 2 hours gathering materials and digging out these rooms when I could have just spent that time getting wheat. Also, I still need seeds to plant the fields in, so either way, I'm doomed to harvest those fields. Oh well, moving on. Now, I've intentionally left these back sections open because this, oh boy, this is where the magic will happen. It's also the part where my brain stops working, which is exactly why I'm following this tutorial from One Last Lemon. And while I can't tell you how this thing works, bro, what is this? I am excited to announce that it is finally moving day for the villagers. Take the seeds and go to your new home. Thank you. And now I'll just need some allays, which is why I'm traveling thousands of blocks in search of a pillager outpost. Finally. Oh my god, that took way too long. Hey guys, how you doing? Tis but a scratch. I'm really hoping that getting you guys home won't be too difficult. First thing I'll try is to fly with you. Okay, yep, flying doesn't seem to be working. Unfortunately, walking doesn't seem to be going too well either. All right, well, we will do it the hard way. And once we get you guys home and safely put away inside of a box, we can just play your favorite song so you'll multiply and then move you into the farm. And it doesn't work. Cool. I'll be honest, I really don't know why the farm's not working, but what I do know is it's 99% sure my fault, and after spending the rest of that afternoon messing around with it, it's finally at a state where I can say it's kind of working. With things finally going on in the background, I think it's time we begin phase 2, which involves building up the actual library. The first thing I want to do is extend this staircase up to what will eventually be the upper level, and I'll go ahead and use a pretty similar block palette to what I used initially for this. Okay, there's one side done. Now to mirror it on this side. Now I just want to outline some of the upper floor, add in some basalt for detail, and also add a railing with these warped trap doors. And before I get too carried away, I think we can add some moss on either side here with more dark oak, which will let us have these gardens on either side of the lair entrance. Sorry, sir, but you can't see this yet. So far, the front section is actually looking pretty good. However, the plan is to have this upper circle go all the way around. So the first thing I'll do is just outline what I think the rough shape should be with dirt. Now, it's important that I take some time to get this right and make sure it's not just like completely flat and boring. All right, that's the first half done, which I think looks pretty good. Now let's just build up the other half. And there we go. The entire outline is complete. Now we can go through and build this in a series of steps, starting with the spruce around the outside, adding in the basalt, which I have to do this weird flying maneuver to place. Yeah, didn't think that one through. After that, I can go through adding in our railing, filling in the floor, and there we go, the upper floor is installed. Also, quick wheat farm check, it's actually kind of working, so that's cool. However, it's not working that great. So I'm gonna tear down this other half and replace it with a cactus farm since I will need a lot of green dye for this build. The idea I'm having is to build a series of archways up here to house the bookshelves, and then we can go through and texture in some moss, green terracotta, and mangrove wood, which from a distance makes it look all old and overgrown, which I kind of like. And about 1 hour later, all of the archways are in. Now it's just time to add in the bookshelves, which will go in the gaps here. So, PETA, if you're watching, now might be a good time to click away. Sorry for killing your parents. My bad. And after gathering the resources to make more bookshelves, I am officially 25% complete with the upper section. This is where I realized the mistake that I've made. You see, going into this, for some reason, I thought that wheat would be the bottleneck in making all of these bookshelves. You know, hence why I built that entire wheat farm. But it turns out getting enough cows for leather and sugarcane for paper is the true problem here. Because yeah, all of these guys are still babies. So here's the plan. I will turn this area above the cactus farm into another sugarcane farm, which will take care of the paper. But as far as the cows go, I really can't do anything but wait for them to grow up. And while I was waiting, I suddenly remembered that librarian villagers can have a bookshelf trade. Hang on a second. Am I being dumb again?
Yep, I'm being dumb.
I really don't know how I've been playing Minecraft for over a decade and I just remembered that. But what I do know is that this villager breeder has been working overtime. Now I think if I put some water here, that should push them to the front and allow the minecart to pick them up. And then we just send them to their temporary holding cell.
It's box number 6.
I think that 6 of these guys should be good. No, dude. Oh man, that just hurts. And it's pretty simple. We just put a lectern down, and if they sell bookshelves, we buy it. If not, we break it and try again. Now, the real secret here will be to find a zombie. Aha, here we go. Oh, I think he's stuck. Hang on, let me help. Come this way, buddy. I've got some people I'd like for you to meet. Okay, scratch that. There's only 5 villagers. Now that they've turned, it's just a matter of throwing a weakness potion, giving them golden apples, and waiting for them to convert back into villagers. And after repeating that process a few times, we have bookshelf trades for 1 emerald apiece, my friends. And bam, the upper section of the library is officially done. And I wish that I could say it's coming along nicely, but I still have to build the entire lower section. And while in the past I've done a lot of building without any planning whatsoever, this is not what that video is about. So I've taken the liberty and done a bit of designing in my creative world, and I've made a list of every material I will need to finish this part of the build. So yeah, let's get collecting. So to start things off, I need some smooth stone. So first I'll go ahead and chuck a bunch of this stone into my super smelter. And while that's going, I'll collect some stripped dark oak wood. Now, I don't know why I've just realized, but it's way faster to strip it while chopping it down initially. I feel like I'm a bit of a noob for that, but anyways, moving on. Now, if you thought bookshelves were annoying to get before, I will need about 3 times the amount for this next part. So yeah, that's fun. I'll also need blackstone, moss, chiseled bookshelves, and a bunch more clay for terracotta. Man, I am really doing a number on these rivers, you guys. Now I'll fortune up a bunch of this copper, toss that into the smelter, craft that into cut copper, and space it out around here to start aging. Ooh, how riveting. But not as riveting as me collecting mud the manual way like a peasant. Oh, that's lovely. I forgot. I already got a bunch of that earlier in the episode. Woo! So I'm realizing now that copper takes way longer to age than I first realized. So I think what I'll do is head out here and just... And I actually saw this trick where apparently if you build a mangrove box for yourself, hi there, once you emerge, yeah, all of your copper should be aged. That was a dumb bit, I'm sorry. Moving along, I now want to head out in search of a coral reef because I think that it would look super cool to use some of that in a central pond area. Okay, hang on, this is not a coral reef, but I'm gonna want to come back here. Oh, and would you look at that? Coral reef is basically right next to it. And after collecting up a bit of dirt to craft into coarse dirt and grabbing the rest of this copper, it's finally time to begin building. So the first thing I think we need is a pillar to support this upper balcony. Yeah, I think that'll work. And the idea here is that in each of these little pockets, hi, I'm calling this a pocket, we can put a different color wool. And think of these like different genres of books that you'd find in your library. And then using blackstone, we can kind of build an archway like so, and fill in the rest with bookshelves. And I gotta say, I am really loving how this is coming together. What I'm not loving, however, is this floor. It's really ugly. So to start things off, I'll outline the pathways with mossy stone brick slabs. And as far as the pathways themselves, I'm thinking that just smooth stone would look really good. I don't really want these paths to be anything that draws your eyes away from the bright and vibrant library. But for the middle section here, just completely forget what I just said because I want to turn this into a fancy pond. Oh, and would you look at that? There's literally a bunch of water right below here. Yeah, this should make filling in this bad boy a breeze. Now, eventually I'll figure out the shape, but for now I want to go in with a layer of oxidized copper since this is touching water after all, followed by a layer of jack-o'-lanterns, even more copper, and polished basalt. Sorry pal, but pool's closed. Now we'll just cover the floor with some dirt before filling in the rest of the water. Also, I guess the water that was already in here was not helpful because now I'm having a heck of a time making all of these water source blocks. Like, I swear normally these would just all fill in on their own, but they're not for some reason, and it's driving me crazy. My sanity aside, now we need a staircase to be able to walk in and out of the pool. Correction, we need 3 staircases apparently. And finally, it's time to address this middle section. So So I'm thinking we dig a hole right here, put some water in, and then have it flow into the pool, almost like it's supplying the entire area with its water, which is cool, but you know what would be even cooler is adding in a bunch more detail. So I'll go through now with some trapdoors to cover the jack-o'-lanterns, a bit of soul soil, mud, and coarse dirt on the floor, some sea pickles for lighting, a few pieces of coral for that color, and lastly some kelp because I wanted to. And it's looking really good, but while I was building this, I had an idea that I just can't get out of my head, and it involves heading all the way back out here to the Mushroom Island. Well, actually below it, because I think the pond needs some axolotls. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 should be good. Also, can we just take a moment to look at how big this lava lake is? Like, what is this, dude? And I shall name you guys Paolo, Abraham, Rosa, Ali, and Harold. So at this point, the main library build is nearly done, except these gardens in the back are still completely empty. So I think on the lower section here, I'll just add in some torch flowers. You can't really go wrong with these bad boys. Now, as for these back sections though, I'm thinking a custom cherry tree on either side will tie the area together perfectly, before finally adding in a back trim with some composters and mangrove leaves, as well as some bamboo. And with that, I think we can finally say that the main library build is complete. More importantly, that means we can finally start working on phase 3 of this project, which involves giving these villagers a proper home. Oh my god, I did not realize how many of you were here. Okay, yep, that's it. You guys are cut off. No more babies for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is install some fences around the villagers to keep them safe, because they're going to actually require more space than the library currently provides. And to get more space, I think I'm going to start digging into this wall actually. Now you'll notice that I'm filling in the walls here with chiseled bookshelves instead of regular ones, and there's actually a reason for that. Apart from looking cool, chiseled bookshelves can hold individual books. More specifically, these book and quills, which you can write whatever you want in. And that's where you guys come in. You see, apart from this being a massive project, it's also a very special one to me, because this is episode 25 in this hardcore series. And lately I've been feeling quite nostalgic and just kind of reflective on this world and everything we've accomplished over the last 2 years. Not even just in game, but like in life, I guess. You see, creating Minecraft videos has been a dream of mine ever since I knew that it was a thing you could do. And this hardcore world has allowed me to do not only that, but somehow turn it into my career. Because for any of this to happen, that means my videos, or my builds, my hilarious jokes, definitely not that one, something had to resonate with all of you. So instead of just sitting here thinking about my favorite memories from this journey, I asked you guys to share some of yours. So these chiseled bookshelves will allow me to quite literally fill this library with real memories and real stories from all of you. In fact, my end goal is to fill this entire thing with comments from you guys. But let's start small. After all, my villagers are still homeless. And the first set of villagers to move are these librarians. Now, I know what you're thinking. A holding cell isn't really any more humane than a box. It's actually less humane. And to that I say, yeah, you're right. But I really needed somewhere for these guys to go, so I'm sorry. And I've been reading all of your comments about your favorite builds from the series so far, and I think it would be really awesome to use this library as a place to recreate some of those old memories, just with a new twist. And one of the most commented builds by far was our old underground base, which was called the Undergrove. Now, the basic premise of the base was that it was a series of underground tree roots connecting through various tunnels. So I think we'll just go ahead and start digging out a massive area through this doorway and recreate a version of that base over here. Now, this should be a pretty straightforward process as long as I don't run into any water caves. Oh, why can't anything be easy for me? Oh, hey, what's up, Alays? I guess I'm freeing you guys, so have a good life. And now that the water is finally gone, I can start clearing out a big tunnel through here, making sure to keep the villagers safe for the time being. And for now, I'll give myself a flat area to work with, and then I'll go through outlining what I think I want the rough shape to be. And believe me when I say this room is going to be very large. So I'll continue digging on the opposite side of the villagers over here and wrap it all the way around. Next up, I'll go through and carve out the shape of the ceiling just a little bit, and I guess the villagers are free now. Also, they're under attack. How fun! See, this is what happens when you run away from home. So I'll just put you back in your box for now. Already, there's so much room for activity in here, but we're not even close to being finished. And before I keep digging, I want to start getting a block palette in. Now, initially I used oak logs, but I think just adding a slight twist with dark oak here instead would work pretty good. And my favorite thing about this base is just how darn easy it is to build. I literally just spam dark oak logs all over the place, and then go through dotting in random pieces of dark oak planks and moss all around, until you're left with this, which honestly looks okay right now, but will look way better the more that we keep building with it. And I'm glad I didn't make the floor any lower because I can barely reach the ceiling as is. And I'm also realizing just how much dark oak this is going to require. Like stupid amounts of dark oak, okay? But as we continue expanding the blocks from the ceiling along to the walls, you can really see how the effect is beginning to take shape. And the last thing this needs is some leaves scattered throughout, which really brings the whole thing together and adds that tree vibe. I feel like I'm back home already. This is so cool, you guys. But what's not cool is just how much digging I still have to do, because this is just the ceiling area. It's going to be way bigger in here. There's something just so peaceful about insta-mining for long periods of time. I swear it just puts me in this like relaxed state. I feel like my brain is always going a million miles an hour, so just hearing the stone break, it just kind of calms things down. And then I can just chill and put on some music or a podcast and honestly just vibe. So I've been working on the area here for a few hours and it's coming along nicely, but I think a staircase here at the entrance would make sense. And it doesn't need to be anything really all too fancy, just kind of a way to get me up and down out of here. There we go, that should do. Now we can go ahead and continue our expansion, this time adding in a little bit of a slope so it's not completely flat and boring. Oh yeah, dude, that is so much better. It does mean, however, that it's time to fill in the floor, so it's back to placing in a bunch more dark oak wood. There we go, you guys, and just like that, the Undergrove is officially rebuilt. And now that we have this space cleared out, we can go through and mark off areas to build more of your guys' favorite things. And for the next one, we have to go way back, all the way to the very first episode of the series where I transformed the spawn village. Now, luckily, the block palette is really simple for this. For starters, I'll just need some spruce wood. After that, I'll need some snow, which I can conveniently find right on these mountaintops. Hold up, did that horse just get yeeted off the mountain by the goat? Why would you do that? Anyways, after gathering more bits and bobs, I think we're good to begin building. The first house will go right here. Now, I remember building these initially and having a super hard time getting them right, but now they just kind of come together pretty easily. I guess that's what happens when you build for 2.5 years straight. All right, there's one house, house number 2, number 3, and number 4. This one looks pretty bad because it's on a diagonal, but that's okay, I guess. And then we can just go through and connect everything together with these deep slate pathways, add in some mossy rocks for more detail, and even give each house a super simple interior. And there we go. I just built a pretty nice looking village in like 20 minutes. There were also a bunch of comments referencing many of the farms that I've built in the series, and while I'm not going to be building any more of them in this video, I do have a pretty cool idea to revamp one of the farms I built a long time ago. And it's going to go right here. You see, way up on the surface, I have this iron farm that I built, and it's just kind of always running in the background, but I never really get to see it because it's outside of the village wall. So I was thinking we could dig a massive tunnel, reroute all of the golems that spawn all the way down into our base. That way we can at least see the farm in action. And yeah, I was not kidding when I said that this would be a massive tunnel. And I believe like right here should line up with the killing chamber I built. Yeah, it does. Cool. Excuse me, sir, if you don't mind, I'll just, yeah. The last thing this needs is some water streams. And after having a bit of trouble getting the golems to round the corners, I think we're pretty much good. Okay, yep, he's mad. And he is fast. I'm out of here. Now, once we install the lava, the iron farm is officially rerouted. Bro, this is so much cooler than what it was before. I also feel kind of bad watching him burn right in front of me. Oh well. But I might as well get used to this feeling because what I'm about to build is way worse. Honestly, it's kind of twisted. So firstly, it's going to require me to dig out a rather large area. Right about here should be good. Now, in terms of the decoration, I'll just blend it in to meet this similar aesthetic that we've been using. And I'll also add some dripstone to the ceiling because why not? Now, I'm aware this is probably bad karma, but the idea I'm having is to build what I'm calling a mob merry-go-round torture device. Basically, it's an endless chamber for hostile mobs to be stuck in. And once the water is in, I pretty much just have to install the elevator and this thing is ready for use. Now, as if torturing a bunch of creepers and zombies wasn't bad enough, now I'm going through adding in these little pods, and what I can do is route a super long highway from them up to the villager breeder. Oh, you guys are gonna like this. And then boom, we have spectators. Look, I hate creepers as much as the next guy, but even this feels a little bit messed up. Oh well, I've already committed. And speaking of creepers, now let's let's try and find some hostile mobs for this thing. I will call you Hash Brown. No, don't blow up, don't blow up. And if we're careful, we should be able to lead you right here into the torture chamber. Okay, I guess he'd rather be dead than inside of this contraption. Honestly, don't blame him. We have cheeseburger, McNuggets, hot fudge sundae, McDouble, strawberry banana smoothie, McChicken, Oreo McFlurry, who keeps trying to shoot me. Please stop. Double quarter pounder with cheese, Big Mac, Filet-O-Fish, please stop shooting me again. And lastly, sorry, our ice cream machine is broken. Now, it looks like the skeleton's actually drowned. Cowards. But as for the rest of you, welcome to the fun zone. Now, because we name tagged them, they shouldn't despawn, meaning they'll basically be stuck in this loop, well, forever. I will add a safety fence, though, just in case. Not for myself, though, but for these guys. Yeah, that's right, you guys. It's time that we address this eyesore that is my villager holding cell, and finally let these guys move into the village that we built just a little bit ago. And after building them a little staircase up and down, I'll just grab their workstations and move them inside of these houses. And then they should just kind of pathfind their way into the village on their own. Except for this guy, he's being dumb. Dude, I have waited so long to remove this ugly box. This feels amazing. And it's definitely freed up some more space in here, which is good, because there's still 2 more things I want to try and recreate throughout this area. And this one is actually a combination of multiple things. It's also, unfortunately, the biggest one yet. So here I am, yet again, digging out a massive room. And I will turn this one into a circle. So what I'm thinking is I want to turn this area into a sort of fishing village with a large pond in the middle. And this is one of my personal favorite builds because it relates back to that one time I spent 13 hours straight on a live stream fishing until I caught a mending book. Now there's really no logical reason to do this unless you're green, and definitely no way it should have been fun. But honestly, just chilling out and chatting with you guys while fishing is something I'll always remember from this journey. Now in terms of the build, I want to add a ring of spruce around the outside, which will kind of act as a dock, and then that's going to surround the body of water here in the middle. Now this is where things start to intertwine, because apart from this being a fishing village, it's also going to have a witch hut emerging from the middle of the water. Oh yeah, dude, that looks so good. And while I was back in the swamp killing slimes way earlier in the video, I couldn't help but notice a stray black cat running around, and I think that you would be a perfect fit back at the base. And even though I really hate to do this, I'm gonna name you Dennis because so many of you mentioned him as your favorite memory from this world. Now, the last time I did this, he pretty much ruined my life, so fingers crossed that doesn't happen again. And finally, I can go through placing in a bunch of barrels, connecting up another rail line all the way to the villager breeder, and then moving a metric ton of these fellas into the fishing village. Oh look, a Congo line. Hold up, how many of you are stuck in this one block? Hello? And there we go, the fishing village is complete. And that just means there's one final build to recreate. This portion of the video is brought to you by my chickens. Yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys that for every book I put in the library, I have to slaughter one of these guys. So hopefully you don't mind. And speaking of you guys, I took some time that night going through all of your comments and adding every single one of them to the build. If you see a heart, that means that you're in the library. Now you might notice that this area is very large, and that's because we are going to build an entire cyberpunk city down here. Now obviously it's going to be nowhere near as large as the previous one I built. That one took 5 months alone and was very painful. But considering this was by far the most commented thing from you guys, it felt illegal to leave it out. And while the previous builds could mostly be just thrown together with a few simple materials, that is not the case for this build, because each of these stone outlines will be made entirely out of different blocks and colors. Bro, what? Why are there so many of you here? Like, huh? Now you're probably wondering, Brock, those are some pretty weird blocks that you're using there. How did you think to come up with them? Well, it's pretty simple. I didn't. You see, this cyberpunk build style works really well when you use a lot of gradients, which is basically where one block transitions to another block to add some shading and texture. Now, if you're good with colors and have some time to kill, you could definitely experiment on your own and find good block palettes for this. But if you're anything like me and can't tell the difference between yellow and orange half the time, seriously, why is it so difficult? You can just use this website called Hue Blocks. All you do is decide decide what block you want to start with and then what block you want to end with, and it generates all of the blocks in between. And obviously I spent a lot of time adding in window trims, doorways, and basic interiors, but I just want to show you that getting a strong block palette is arguably half the battle. And once we fill in this back wall and connect the buildings up with pathways, the mini cyberpunk city is actually done. I forgot how tedious this build style can be. It just requires so many different blocks, dude.
The other thing it requires is villagers, because yeah, there are still a stupid amount of these guys left to put in houses. So to start things off, I'll just fill in these buildings with as many workstations that will possibly fit before going through and absolutely cramming these guys in like sardines. And would you look at that, I just happen to have the perfect amount of villagers. Not a single one left over that I needed to kill or anything. No, definitely not. So far in this video, I've made an evil heir, built an entire library, and recreated your guys' favorite builds from the series so far, which means it's finally time to move on to phase 4 of this massive project. You see, not only do I want this library to capture memories from this world, but I kind of want it to serve as a time capsule and capture the feeling of old Minecraft. You see, recently I've stumbled onto various Minecraft channels from creators playing in beta versions of Minecraft. These videos focus on a more simple, stripped back version of the game, and watching these videos has had me reminiscing on my own early Minecraft experiences. So for phase 4, I'm going to lean into these feelings and try and build something that fully captures those early days of the game. And to do this, I'm going to have to do more than build just a crappy little box out of oak planks, although that might work, to be fair. In fact, to do this, I'm going way back. On May 9th, 2012, just 6 months after the official release of Minecraft 1.0 on PC, Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition hit the market. And this allowed so many kids who didn't have a computer, including myself, to finally experience what Minecraft was all about. And while this version of Minecraft was literally years behind the actual game in terms of features, it did come with one thing that separated it from its PC counterpart. And that was this tutorial world, which I just so happened to find a download for in 2024. Oh man, this is going to be really weird, you guys. I haven't seen this place in over a decade, which is honestly crazy to think about. And for so many people, like myself included, this world was the first time we got to experience Minecraft. Now, the game was a lot different back then. For starters, the audio was super weird, as you can hear. Like, your footsteps just sound like you're walking on eggshells the whole time. There's no sprinting. No hunger bar, and boats apparently just break when you try and get out of them. Also, skins weren't around yet because, hello, I'm Steve, apparently. Anyways, so you spawn here in this courtyard, and you're pretty much instantly find this half-constructed wooden box, which I guess you're intended to finish building yourself. And then if you keep following this gravel pathway, you come up to this weird archway entrance thing, which I think might be Minecraft's first liminal space. And once you get through that, you're met with one of the earliest renditions of a village. Now, it's actually kind of funny because despite only having like 5 blocks in the entire game, the houses look pretty much just as good as they do now, which is kind of sad, actually. Now, the interiors are all really basic. I mean, there's basically just a bed inside, it seems. And there's also this well in the middle, which, is there anything below here, actually? No, it doesn't look like it. Ooh, this is quite a fancy house we have over here. I remember always trying to build my houses to look like this one back in the day. I actually think that the modern villages could use a house like this. But as neat as this place is, you might have noticed that there's no villagers. And that's because at this point in development, they weren't even in the game yet, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. But something about this just makes the whole place feel eerily quiet, and you feel very alone, I guess. And I remember as a kid being very scared while playing Minecraft, and I guess I just thought that feeling went away because I grew up or whatever. But here I am as a 27-year-old dude, and I am still absolutely terrified right now. Now, I think when you take damage, this super weird noise is made, and then the main way to heal is just by eating pork chops, which don't even stack in your inventory. Hang on, I better sleep. Okay, that was not necessary. Moving along, next up is this minecart track going into the hillside. And if you take a ride along it, you go all the way here to this castle entrance.
Hang on, how do I get out of this thing? Now, I remember looking at this castle in 2012 like it was Grian's Hermitcraft 7 base. So it has this archway out front, and the inside is like this super bare bones and open courtyard. And what's down here? Oh, that's right. It leads to this dock area that connects up to the ocean below. That's so cool. And then we have these spiraling staircases that take you up to the towers, as well as this big open room, which I guess is supposed to be some sort of a church. Dude, the torch spam in here is real. Now back here in the middle area, one of the other things I love to do was pillar up to this big Minecraft sign, because once you get up here, you can pretty much see the whole world to know if you missed anything. Like over there, there's another village, it seems, and there's also a tower way out in the distance, and what looks like a desert as well. Hang on a second, do beds break your fall? Nope, they don't. Also, I think I just discovered a duplication glitch. That is so weird, dude. But yeah, I just remember spending countless hours exploring and living in this world. I know that when I was younger, the building side of Minecraft was always super daunting to me. So the fact that I could just load up in here and there were already some pre-built structures just added so much to the experience for me. And while walking around here, I've been kind of just taking in the scenery and collecting some screenshots of things I want to try and rebuild, which means it's time we return back to the hardcore world and get working. So right through here is where I want to begin our expansions. And there's nothing more fitting I can think to put here than that liminal archway from the tutorial world. Now I've taken exact screenshots, so as far as I know, these two inside rooms are 100% accurate. But something doesn't quite feel right. There we go, that's better. In case you missed it, I just swapped to the old textures, which are basically Minecraft, but old. And since I'm underground right now, I'm gonna start digging out a staircase into what will eventually be called Beta Boulevard. Clever, I know. I came up with it myself. Now the block palette should be very easy. After all, we only had 3 of them back in the day. Digging out this giant room, however, might take a bit. Hang on, I gotta get efficiency 5 put on this fortune pickaxe. There we go. And the reason I'm using that pickaxe is to get all of this cobble, because it's actually going to make up the walls of this entire room. Look, I'm going for accuracy, not aesthetics here, and this is totally something that 15-year-old Brock would have done. Something else that 15-year-old Brock would have done is have his entire base have a grass floor, which is actually impressive because back in the day, I definitely didn't have Silk Touch. Now, the first structure will go right here, and this one is going to be a sort of animal barn, I suppose. Now, I know it's not the most visually aesthetic thing you've ever laid your eyes on. Far from it, actually. But this was as good as it gets back in the day. What's not good is the fact that it has no animals in it, but I think we can fix that. I'll grab a cow, a pig, and a sheep, push them into this hole. Whoa, that's kind of wild. And there we go. You all get to hang out here forever. Sorry. There we go. A second house is in. Nothing special here. House number 3, though. Look at this bad boy. Really moving up in the world. Did I say up? I meant down. Because through this well is where the magic well happened. I'm so sorry. I just said that. I remember as a kid being totally obsessed with secret passageways or hidden rooms. Basically anything that let me feel completely invisible. Kind of dark when I put it that way. But in Minecraft, I took any chance I could to bring this to life. So down here at the bottom of the well, I think I'll just dig out a little tunnel, and at the end of said tunnel, I'll use the oldest trick in the book with a painting, which by today's standards isn't the most secure entrance by any means, but in 2012, you could use this to guard your most prized possessions. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because in this room will be my bedroom. Now, I also recall using a ton of leaves as building blocks back in the day, which it's no wonder I would go on to make an entire mega base that's based off of a tree, now that I think about it. What can I say? I'm a simple man. A simple man who loves his diamonds, because through here is the most high security, top secret vault you've ever seen. Now, there wasn't really much to do with diamonds back in the day, so I would always have one of these rooms attached to my bedroom. I could use more diamonds though. This is a bit embarrassing. There we go. That's better. But the last thing this needs is a guardian, you know, just in case this ever gets broken into. All right, little guy, come with me. I will sit you right here upon your diamond throne, and most importantly, I'll name you Bud after my childhood dog. I miss you, buddy. Hope you're doing all right wherever you are. And now that we're all crying over our childhood pets, let's add a cool factor to this base. And while I think we can agree that minecarts are a pretty boring part of Minecraft today, before the addition of elytra, or even sprinting for that matter, they were actually a pretty awesome way to get around. So to make this place a bit more fun, I'm gonna dig out a custom track starting from the bedroom that works its way all the way through the village and back up into the liminal entrance area. Now we just add in the rails, power these bad boys up, and boom, we are ready to take a ride through Beta Boulevard. With the first 4 phases complete, we are just left with one final objective. Now, before I tell you what that is, it's important to get a bit more context about how we got here. On June 4th, 2023, I uploaded a video called 10 Hours to Save My World from Deletion. In this video, I set a challenge for myself to get every advancement in this world in 10 hours, with the caveat that I delete the world if I fail. Now, at the time of this video, I was completely burned out with this hardcore series, and to be honest, I made that challenge for myself almost hoping that I would fail. But against all odds, when I got that last advancement with only a single minute left, I was left feeling totally confused. And while I couldn't delete the world now, I did the second closest thing to that by traveling 100,000 blocks from home, destroying all my stuff, and putting on this stupid cursive binding leather armor. In a lot of ways, doing all this was really stupid, but I didn't care. I was honestly pretty bitter towards Minecraft at the time. But being so far from home with no resources and really questionable armor, I was forced to kind of take things slow and have a fresh start. Slowly but surely, I started building. Firstly, by transforming this village, and eventually making this monstrosity completely from scratch without any planning at all. In a way, I was just kind of forced to refine my love for Minecraft while I was out here. So for phase 5, it's time that we come full circle and finish this story once and for all. I'm heading home, and I'm doing it by foot. Oh, I might regret this. Okay, so if I'm going to actually do this, I think I need some ground rules. So I guess firstly, I'll say no elytra. I mean, that kind of removes the whole point of this being a hard challenge. So how can I get around? Well, I'll keep it vague and just say that I must travel either by foot, boats, or other means. But we'll get to those ones later, hopefully. And it looks like right over here, we are approaching a village. Hang on, how many of these do you guys think I'm gonna find along the way home? I'm gonna guess 34, but that number might be way off, dude. I have no idea. And speaking of numbers, I've been doing some very precise, and by that I mean extremely not precise calculations. And I found that if I sprint the entire 113,000 blocks home, I should make it home in just under 6 hours. Bro, that is crazy. I can literally drive to the airport and fly almost anywhere in the US before that. Why did I just jump in that cave? Anyways, considering I'm already like 5,000 blocks into this journey, I should probably tell you why I'm doing it this way. Yeah, I don't really know. I guess the closest thing I can compare it to is like a road trip. I mean, there's just so much of this Minecraft world that I've never seen, and this is probably the only chance I'll get to see half of this terrain. And already I'm getting sidetracked searching these caves. I want to try and find a saddle, which will open up a few more transportation options. I got nothing but a bunch of skeletons that want to kill me. All right, well, I tried. I really wanted to get a saddle, but I guess it's just not in the cards for right now. Back on the journey we go. We got a long ways to go. I'm gonna just like put on a podcast and just keep walking, I guess. As of right now, we are officially in the 99,000s, meaning we are only 5 digits away from home, which still feels very far away because it is very far away. Also, this dude's just big chilling on top of his perch. Oh my god, not 1, but 2 saddles were in this village. Everyone, meet Rupert. And with this device, Rupert can take us home. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go the whole way home on this pig. I will take the saddle, though. However, I do need that. We can finally get a camel. What's up, buddy? I shall name you Tommy. Sorry, Thomas. No time for rest, my friend. We must go. We have adventures to be on. We have places to be. Update. Me and Tommy are climbing a mountain, it seems. We're 2 mountain boys, mountain men, just trying to get a good view. Look at this view, Thomas. Look at what we did. We did this together. No, Tommy, be careful. Be careful. Okay, Tommy, listen, man. It's been fun. It's been real. I'll catch you sometime later. Can we get some F's in the chat for Tommy? He's not cut out for this life. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that I have traveled 25,000 blocks in just the last couple hours since I started this journey back home. The bad news is that I am out of food. I don't know why I forgot about bringing food. That was not my smartest plan. Like, I really don't know what to do now. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna settle down and build a house or anything. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. I should do that. I would say you guys are probably surprised, but then again, I don't think I could do anything that would surprise you at this point. Also, this is Perry. Everyone say, hi, Perry. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is inhumane. I feel kind of bad. I made way too many sheep. Also, did I spend the entire afternoon yesterday making this entire base and breeding up all of these sheep just for a little bit of food? Yes, I did, in fact. just killed Perry. Oh, no. Oh, that's so tragic, bro.
Day 2 was another long one, so I'll go ahead and just cover some of the highlights. For starters, I found a bunch more villages.
Oh, look, a village.
I also found a pink sheep, which I killed, and this mangrove swamp on top of a mountain. Honestly, I didn't even know that was possible. I also found these 2 random mineshaft chests just chilling out in the open. Not sure what that's about, but I will never complain about free golden apples. I went ice skating, found some cool floating islands with a sheep on top of them, came across this insane mountain range, and overall just had a blast seeing what wonders this world had to offer. I flew through the 70,000s, the 60,000s, and the 50,000s, meaning I was officially halfway home. And I really thought this would have been a more exciting milestone, but ironically, it was the darkest one yet. I guess it just made me feel further from home than ever, since I was kind of caught in the middle between 2 different bases. So I put my head down and kept on moving through the 40,000s, onto the 30,000s, and eventually into the 20,000s, when I made quite the discovery. We are officially 24,000 blocks from home, which
Might not mean anything to you, but it does mean that we are officially in the outermost stronghold ring. There could be a stronghold below my feet. Okay, I gotta run. Hang on. And it's the first time that I can say that in over half a year, which is honestly wild.
This was such a huge motivator for me. I know it might sound crazy, but I was starting to question whether I would ever make it home. I know in theory that everything is still safe and sound right where I left it, but when you've just spent the last 2 full days running in a straight line and finding absolutely nothing but the occasional village, your mind kind of starts to play tricks on you. But this was just the reminder I needed that there was in fact an end in sight, and I was making it home today. So it's day 3 of this journey, and I don't really have time for an intro. I'm just gonna keep running. I think what I'll do is update you guys every 1,000 blocks or something.
15,000, 14,000, 13,000, 12,000, 11,000.
Before long, I was less than 10,000 blocks from home, meaning our journey was more than 90% finished, and I was starting to become flooded with so many memories from this world. I was about to be reunited with so many builds, countless farms, and amazing stories for the first time in over half a year. Before long, I hit the 5,000 block mark, then the 4,000 block mark, and the 3,000 block mark. And just as I was crossing into the 2,000 block milestone, I was met with quite a welcome sight.
I don't know when I've been here, but I've been here because this portal did not make itself. I did that too. What is this? Wait a second. I know where I am. This is where I killed all 5 animals with 1 crossbow shot. Like, I know that logically in a few hundred blocks, I'm gonna stumble onto builds that I've made over 2 years ago. Like, they're gonna still be there. But when you've been traveling for 113,000 blocks straight and finding nothing that is of any familiarity, you kind of start to doubt yourself. Like, am I really in the same Minecraft world that I once began? But it is true. Oh my goodness. We have made it home. Look at all of this, you guys. The tree, the castle, the village, my slime farm that doesn't work anymore.
I took some time that afternoon just roaming through the world and visiting all of the old build sites. And as nice as it feels to be back home seeing all of my builds, something just doesn't feel quite right.
Oh, yep. There goes the helmet. There goes the boots. There goes the pants. And there goes the chest plate. I am once again naked, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. Thank you all so much for 25 amazing episodes of Hardcore Minecraft. Now I just gotta figure out how to get back to that library.